What's up, everybody? It is Friday night, August 21st, 2020. I am back once again. Welcome to this edition of the Don, Tony, and Kevin Castle Show. Wait, did I just say... Force a habit. Got all those years, got to break out of that habit. What's up, everyone? It is Friday night, August 21st, 2020. Welcome to this edition of the Don Tony Show. Yeah! I am Don Tony. No pro. Here's the deal as far as Mondays. My co-host has taken 2 weeks off of the show. But at the same time, because I have changed all of my programming and equipment, I'm having a difficult time having the YouTube shows pipe in just audio only. Not using the second computer anymore, not using Discord anymore, not trying to screw anybody over, but the fact is that, you know, too many audio issues, things clashing, codecs getting all screwed up, and, you know, I gotta try to cut down the behind the scenes work, not add loads to it. So instead of Discord, for anybody that wants to access audio only for any of these shows, you just use Mixlr. And we used to use Mixlr for a couple of years. It is streaming right now if you want to use Mixlr, of course. But like I said, you know, I'm having some problems. And, you know, look, this Monday, for everybody that wants to check it out, I will be doing the show with Mish of Wrestling Soup fame. Both of us are going to be going video, so you're going to get a special Monday night breakfast soup edition of the show, and then we'll see what happens next week. No, it's not a Paul Heyman guy. It's a Don Tony guy. I got to show my own merchandise once in a while, right? We got a loaded show today. Not too many different topics to get into, but we got a loaded show. And I'm going to talk about Thunderdome. I'm going to give you my honest review of it so far. Not, you know, it's a work in progress. I'm still going with my original prediction from about 6 weeks ago that WWE is going to start having a decent amount of live fans in attendance again around Survivor Series time. You know, this is a 2-month reprieve, you know, as far as what's been going on. You kind of like me even think that this may be the transition of what was the COVID era to, you know, live fans in attendance. And we'll get into that in 1 second. I'm going to give you SmackDown review, my SummerSlam predictions this week in wrestling history, which is stacked this week. If you want to see a little teaser right now, you know, it would be nice if I take the Don Tony graphic off of the screen. You know who I am. I don't think I need to keep playing it. And by the way, the video, obviously, the quality is much different now. I have the camera connected. I still have to tweak some settings. So if my video may seem a little bit bright, or maybe it's a little too clear or unclear, or this and that, you know, we're going to be adjusting it. So as the weeks come across, you know, we'll get more adjusted. So we definitely have wrestling history to get to. We're going to get into the AEW situation with the ticket scalpers, which honestly, you know, when I get into it later, you know, I think Tony Khan is once again trying to play good cop, bad cop. You know, we'll talk about that later. But, and we're going to also give an update regarding Sonia Deville. In fact, let's open up with that, because that obviously led to a change at SummerSlam. And I'm going to give you my opinion of what I think is going to transpire here. Some of it may sound comedic, and it's not meant to be comedic, but I hope everybody out there actually understands what I mean when I say it. But for those that don't know, Sonia Deville's, you know, the person, Phillip Thomas, easy name to remember because that's the same name of the guy from Miami Vice, Tubbs. Only his was Philip Michael Thomas. This is Philip Wacko Thomas. He was arraigned in court. Sonia Deville was there in attendance, and he was denied bail. Now, I got the video footage of the TV news station in Florida. They have this available on YouTube, so I do have permission to share it with everyone. But if you'd like a little quick video update as far as what's going on with that case and a couple of things that you may not have known as far as what went down. And then I'm also going to say something about Mandy Rose, something that I really feel bad for her right now, and I'll explain why. So first, quickly, let's check out this video footage. This is from the arraignment of Phillip Thomas.
All new at 11 now, the man accused of breaking into a WWE star's home will remain in jail. The wrestler at the center of that case told a courtroom today she was terrified when she found the man in her house. Our Julie Solomon shows us what prosecutors think motivated all of this.
WWE wrestler Sonia Deville explains in court how she woke up around 3 a.m. on Sunday, alarm system going off, and found an intruder inside her home.
And the curtains were drawn, so I pulled them back, and I saw a man standing there, and he had black clothes on and a black mask, and he was just standing there staring at me.
Prosecutors say Phillip Thomas traveled more than 400 miles from South Carolina to Lutz. They say he broke into her lanai and watched her for 2 hours before breaking into the home through a sliding glass door.
So I sprinted to my friend's room, and I was screaming. I couldn't even get my words out. I was like, we have to go. There's a man in the house. That she couldn't even understand me. She said, what? What are you saying?
Thomas, who has no prior criminal history, faces felony charges of aggravated stalking, armed burglary, and attempted armed kidnapping. Prosecutors say he had a knife, zip ties, duct tape, and mace. Prosecutors say Thomas had an obsession with the WWE star, and he sent her disturbing, violent, private messages over several months on social media. Deville told a courtroom she escaped with her friend through the garage and into a car. She was so nervous her foot was on the gas, not the brake.
I was screaming, your car won't start, your car won't start, your car won't start.
The defense asked for a $2 million bond, but a judge refused. Thomas is being held in jail without bond.
He has absolutely no ties to here. He drove here just to accomplish, I don't know what.
Julie Salmon, ABC.
I'll tell you a couple of things right off the bat. You know, if you're a long-time viewer, you know I've already told you the difference between bail and bond. Bond is usually 10% of whatever, you know, is issued. So if just think about that for a minute. The defense asked for a $2 million bond, all right? And that sounds high as it is. But if the court would have approved a $2 million bond, they would have had to have come up with $200,000 minimum to buy the bond. Does this guy look like he owns $200,000 worth of anything? I hate to make a joke, but maybe he's got $200,000 worth of Sonia Deville merchandise, but where are you going to get that money from? So I don't even think he would have been able to come up with that. Kudos to Florida for holding him without bail, without bond. You know, it's very, very disturbing if you really just take a second. And I'm sorry for that super chat. I actually was trying to put a setting in there. If you notice, I adjusted the screen. I hit the wrong button. So, but thank you for that. But the thing is this. First off, if you didn't see SmackDown tonight, at SummerSlam, the match between Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose is still on. But it is no longer a hair versus hair match. It is now a no DQ, loser leaves WWE match. Now, my immediate reaction to the change in the match is, well, my first reaction was, man, props to Sonya Deville for continuing with the match. You know, Lord knows the trauma she's going through right now. You know, but one thing I want to say too, and people will know I am not exaggerating on this at all, but I could say easily 90 to 95% of everybody out there that's talked about this incident and showing like a lot of support and props to Sonya Deville, which deservingly she deserves all of it, have all seemed to forget Mandy Rose was in that house as well. She was in a different area, obviously. But the point is that, you know, there was more than one person in that house. And Mandy Rose, you know, has to be just as much traumatized, if not more. Because when I talked about it on Wednesday a little bit, and I talked about his social media account, you know, we saw the public tweets, which showed loads of support for Sonia Deville. We did not see the private messages where apparently he even showed his private parts to her, and very threatening, violence, this and that. I don't know why that wasn't reported to authorities sooner. You know, yeah, you get whack jobs, you block them, you delete them, and this and that. But I don't understand after DM message number 1, unless she just didn't see them. I mean, that is obviously a likely scenario. If Sonia Deville has her DMs open, she probably gets hundreds of DMs a day. So she may not have even seen what this guy sent. But just think about the mindset. This guy was obsessed with Sonia Deville. And, you know, the little drips and drabs that came out was he was going down there to stop her from having this match Sunday. Now, think about this for a minute. And this is why I say, for all of you out there that's shown a lot of concern and a lot of props and love to Sonia Deville, I think you should give just as much to Mandy Rose. Think about this guy's mindset. Now, all of us, we're not whack jobs, so it's very, very hard to try to relate to this guy. But if this guy was obsessed with Sonia Deville, yes, there are sick and twisted people out there that will harm people that they're obsessed with because they have this mindset, if I can't have her, nobody can have her. But the thing is that if he was that obsessed and supportive of Sonia Deville, you imagine the amount of hatred he must have had towards Mandy Rose? And how many of us really knew that Mandy Rose was temporarily living with Sonia Deville? You imagine this guy showing up at that house, and not only does he see Sonia Deville there, but it ends up Mandy Rose is there too. You know, Mandy Rose, you know, could have been in even more danger for her life. So, you know, you got to look at both sides with this. And, you know, I'm going to repeat that idea of looking at both sides of this when we talk about Renee Young later on. And unfortunately, we may have seen the last of Renee Young on WWE television, but we'll get to that later. But the point is that I think everyone should not leave out Mandy Rose as far as this traumatic experience, because I saw tonight, my God, you know, props to Sonya, she's still going through with the match. Well, so is Mandy Rose. I think they both deserves that love and appreciation and support from everyone out there. So my thinking is the fact that they changed it to loser leaves WWE and no DQ, that tells me right away Miz and Morrison are going to get involved. Otis and Tucker are probably going to get involved. And I'm convinced, and deservingly so, Sonia Deville will be taking an extended time off to deal with this situation, not only as far as going through the court process, but emotionally as well. Now, you could look at it in a lighter way and say, you know, they changed the gimmick for the match because maybe Sonia Deville doesn't want to go to court and be all over TV, and she's bald all of a sudden, you know, so that could be part of it as well. But, you know, all of our thoughts and prayers are with Sonia Deville and Mandy Rose. And you know that they are going to put it all out there Sunday for SummerSlam. So, yeah, so that's the deal. That's the update as far as this guy. You know, the fact that, you know, they're keeping him without bail or bond tells you how, and he's got no criminal record. That's even more, you know, that blows me away. But good. Let him stay there. Very surprising for Florida, by the way, but good. So now we get back to SmackDown. Thunderdome. We've seen the teasers. I put it up in the teaser picture for tonight's show. We've seen little video things here and there. Yesterday they did a test run, and it basically was what we've all been told and discussing the last 2 weeks, that it's tons of LED panels, and basically what happens is that you send in a registration. They have a registration period, and you sign up, and then if you're selected, and by the way, I had told everybody yesterday I was selected, and I was going to do it tonight, but I really, honestly, rather prepare for the show and do the show and give you my first reaction of Thunderdome. I could always register for Sunday, for Raw, for next week. This will be around for a month or two at minimum. But so you register, and if you're accepted, there's a whole bunch of rules. They don't want you wearing competitors' gear. Can't wear an AEW shirt. Can't do this. There was a lot of concern of maybe fans trying to go rogue and maybe moon the camera or reveal another shirt, which we talked about. And I'll be honest with you, that aspect about WWE's concern really hurt a lot of the Thunderdome fan experience tonight. Overall, as far as the appearance, it was really, really nice. It made you feel that there were fans in attendance. The fact that they're in the Amway Center, it's a regular size arena. You could use pyro. The look is awesome. There's no question. The look of Thunderdome is awesome. What I had said Wednesday, though, is if you got a piece of rotten meat and you add breadcrumbs to it, or you add garnish to it, or you pour a little sauce over it, it may look really, really good. When you start biting into it, you realize that no matter how good it looks, it may not taste as good as it appears. And Thunderdome, look, this was night one. And for night one, it was definitely a success for WWE. By the way, for everyone in the chat, super chats, I'll definitely get into everybody's in a moment. I just want to, discuss this because there's a few things that are on my mind I definitely don't want to forget. For night one, it was a big success for WWE. It gave you the feeling that you weren't in a dark performance center when a handful of NXT fans around ringside, but, and like I said, I overall give it an A. I rate it an A, but there were problems tonight. Problem number one, the fans that you saw on the screen, what you saw was not a live feed, and that hurts it tremendously. I'm in my house. Maybe I don't get as animated as if I went to a wrestling show in person. But if one of my favorite wrestlers is Biggie, and Biggie just defeated Sheamus, which was the opening match on SmackDown tonight, I would be like, new, they rock, new, they rock. Or maybe, just even if I'm a young fan, a young kid that's on that screen, I'd be like, yeah, and you saw it, and they won, and they were doing this. You get a hot tag in the Lucha House Party versus Cesaro and Nakamura. Hot tag! A heel does something, a crazy-ass move. Holy. The feeds were not live. That hurt it tremendously. Another thing is, no audio of those fans live. Now, the audio part now, look, you see, a lot of people said to me, DT, you don't need a mirrorless camera. You could just use a regular webcam. Oh, DT, you don't have to do video. You could just stay with audio. DT, why do you need an electro voice? You could just use a $30 headset. DT, what do you need? I'm a stickler to quality and detail. And if I'm going to work hard, if I'm going to work hard, I want to play hard. And to me, all of this is to make the experience look better, sound better. It's proud to have a presentation, nice backdrop. It could have just went with a piece of black, fabric. So there's a lot of effort and thought put into it. But at the same time, though, you have this aesthetic look to these fans. And I'm a stickler, and I love reading about equipment. It is very, very difficult to take the audio of all of those fans and pipe it into the arena because they're on cell phones. They're not on pristine, beautiful sounding audio, beautiful, clear video. You saw it. Things would be muffled. Things would be buffered. It would sound horrendous. So if you're not going to pipe in, and I don't like the piping in of reactions, but when you see, like I said, Biggie hits his finisher, and everybody's like this, and then he wins, and there's no cheers, there's no boos, there's no chants, there's no this is awesome stuff. At least when you had the NXT wrestlers as fans, they were loud, they were animated, they would cheer, they would bang the plexiglass. Today, it was just like a soundtrack of little white noise in the background. If you were a blind person, I'm not saying this to be funny, but if you were a blind person or you're visually impaired and you listened to tonight's SmackDown broadcast, you were probably more disappointed tonight than in previous weeks because there was no reaction, there was no cheers, there were no jeers, there were no chants, there were no energy. It was just the wrestlers, it was just the screens and nothing else. So if you're not going to have the live fan audio streaming, you have to supplement that with a board, a soundboard. But what makes it difficult is you're not showing the live reaction, the live feed of those fans. So how are you going to pipe in big cheers for a win, and then you're looking at the LED boards and everybody's like this? So that is a big problem. For aesthetics, it's nice. It's nice. Don't get me wrong. It's nice. But if you think this is going to dramatically change ratings and this is suddenly going to make the wrestling product that much better, and here's another thing too. Now, there wasn't just a hard camera for screens. There were screens on the opposite side also and in the back. So you didn't get the opportunity to really see the opposite side unless a wrestler was brawling outside the ring or something was going down. And kudos to everybody who was sending me PMs with lots of screenshots. I took one screenshot that I'm going to share with you right now. And keep in mind, this is just one side of the building. I want you to look at this. All right? And I probably missed some as well. You actually dissect this. There are not that many fans being shown on screen. You might have 50 at most. I circled quickly the same person featured over and over and over again, the same person. And when you count the opposite side, we counted 17 for that guy. 17. If you actually look at, I'm trying to find it. I don't see it handy, but if you pause this show later on and you focus on this video, you'll see some video where the same image is sitting right next to each other. Look at the guy with the green screen in the backdrop. He doesn't even know how to use a chroma key properly. You could count 4 or 5 of that green guy. There was a guy that fell asleep, and we found 6 screens of him asleep. So when you actually look at this, although it aesthetically looks really, really nice, you actually dissect it, what do you got, 50, 60 fans that you put image on there? So I like the visual. It's definitely a step up compared to what they did before. But this needs a lot of work, and it needs to be done quickly. I don't know how many weeks in advance they were planning on doing this LED setup, but when you have 8, 10, 12 images of the same person on one side of the ring, and you start adding up, and then look at all of you out there. How many of you out there wanted to be part of this tonight and didn't get the email confirmation? And then you realize, wait a minute, this one Matarazzi is shown 17 times, yet it was sold out. I couldn't be part of it. So although they're using a lot of boxes, they're obviously behind the scenes. They're not set up with the capability. And plus, too, if you think about it, they probably only have 1 or 2 people back looking at me. Now think about this. They're giving the appearance that there's 500 fans in attendance. In actuality, it may only be about 50 or 60 on the screens. Now, not for nothing, if I'm in the back in the controller room and all my job is to look at 50 boxes, that's not a lot of boxes to look at and monitor. You see someone that starts going into business for himself, boop, switch it, he's gone. You switch it to someone else. But again, those video clips were not live because the fans were not reacting to any of the stuff going on. Now, here's what I would do, and I know a lot of you are not going to like some of this, but if you're going to go this route, this you probably have to do. I got to take a sip of water. Big cotton mouth, so I got multiple bottles. I got more than one. But look, I'm not shitting on it. Overall, I give it an A, but I have to also bring up what needs to be addressed and addressed quickly, because the newness factor of this will go away in a week or two. And trust me, if this keeps happening because AEW is bringing back some fans, oh, we'll do this. Oh, AEW is doing this. Oh, we'll do this. And, you know, AEW right now is looking at it and saying, okay, all right, I'll see yours and I'll raise it this way. Now, you're not going to do something where it's going to cause people to get sick, but this newness will wear off quickly, especially when fans realize, wow, I wanted to be a part of this so bad and I didn't get chosen, but meanwhile you got this schmuck being seen 17 times throughout the arena, and he's not the only one. If you want some fun, just take that still shot and take one person and just look. You'll see there's tons of people over there that are shown 5-10 times. So, you know, right now it feels like smoke and mirrors than anything else. But, you know, here's a couple of things that I would do. When I used to go to Raw events, mostly Raw, and we were live, and you would get some dark matches, if we were lucky to get some matches taped for some of their secondary TV shows, and then we're a couple of minutes before Raw. Whether it was Howard Finkel or someone else, they would pump up the crowd. You know, like, you know, when I do this, you know, I want to hear noise. I want to hear everybody yelling, or better yet, 5-10 minutes before Raw would start and we were live in the building, they would cut to a commercial on the USA Network during whatever they were showing, La Femme Nikita or something else. And they would show the fans in attendance and they would show a preview of what the matches were later on tonight. Hunter Hearst Helmsley versus this part. And all the crowd was energetic because Finkel or someone else would tell everybody, all right, and when we count it down, I want to hear everybody screaming noise, get out of your seat and this and that. Everybody would do that. The beginning of Raw, everybody would do that. So what you may need to do is, I don't care if SmackDown is live or if it's a couple of hours on tape delay, in my opinion. I personally think option one is to not do this live. Do it on some tape delay and let the fans have their natural reactions. Let the fans see live in person what is going down. So when someone turns heel or a babyface gets a crazy win, Jeff Hardy wins, everybody jumps out of their seats. You know, gotta have some reaction. You know, when you just show a background, that looks like wallpaper. That looks like a green screen, you know, with a whole bunch of fan images on there. Jeff Hardy, you know, swerves, hits AJ Styles at the brace. 1, 2, 3, new Intercontinental Champion. You know, or the guy that was eating his orange. You know, so they need to maybe do a tape delay and do the episode with the fans live with their reactions. You got to do it. If you're going to have fans there, they have to react to what they're seeing. And if you're not going to do their videos live, then don't make people wait until 7:15, 7:30, 8 o'clock to connect to your server. Record them earlier during the day. Give them other matches to watch. Just record their footage earlier in the day and just throw it on the screen. Because what's the purpose? Seriously. And again, this is not me shitting on this. This is me just giving constructive criticism to make it better. What's the purpose of WWE being live tonight if all the focus is the Thunderdome setup and they're not live, they're showing no reaction, no energy, nothing whatsoever. It's sloppy. It's very, very sloppy, and it can't stay that way. Another thing you can do some matches earlier in the night and have some of the finishes not necessarily have the same moves and stuff, but if you know you're going to have, let's say, 4 baby faces win during SmackDown, you give them a couple of dark matches where 4 baby faces win and let them react to those wins. And then what you could do is when you pipe in that feed later on, sure, it's not live feed, but you can set it up, you know, in a way where some of the reactions look like they're reacting to what they're seeing in the ring. That is a big, big issue. Another thing I would like to see, cool once in a while, is maybe have a couple of Hall of Famers. Come on, they're zooming. Have a couple of Hall of Famers, the front row. Maybe have a couple of celebrities, the front row. You know, maybe you do some unique things. I don't know if you want to see the gobbledygooker front row or something like that, but I think you put a couple of familiar faces around the front row. And the best part is they don't have to leave their house. You could have Edge. I sound like Trump. Edge. You could have Edge sitting in his, you know, I don't know, in his den with the cam on. And look, Edge is front row. So overall, I give it an A for appearance, concept, the idea. It definitely gives the atmosphere that it's busier, and that's a good thing. But it gets nullified when the fans have no reaction, like zombies. I mean, why is it live? And then there, and look, if you get someone that does reveal an AEW shirt or tries to moon or something like that, you know, you cut their feed. Do it on a 10-second delay. You know, you cut their feed. There's got to be ways of doing it. And plus, here's another thing, too. You know, we have some jerk-offs, obviously, on social media that'll just do jokes about everything and they're nasty about this and ripping this and causing controversy for this. I love, you know, the last 24 hours. I see people out there basically saying, look, you know, just let fans enjoy themselves and let them enjoy Thunderdome. And why do you have to shit on everything? And then Mandy Rose wants to give away 3 wrestling figures to some of the women as like a little prize giveaway thing on AEW Heels, and they shit all over that. Same mouth. You know, why can't you just let fans enjoy themselves? You know, Thunderdome, you know, if you may not like it, you don't have to be an asshole. Let them enjoy it. And in the very same sentence, they're ripping AEW Heels in the giveaway and the people spending the money for that. People forget. This weekend, WWE is doing this. I don't know if you saw this, but they're doing a virtual meet and greet Saturday, August 22nd through Monday, August 24th. And I think I have the list of what you get. Yes, meet and greets. You get the opportunity to talk to your favorite WWE superstar in a video chat. And I talked about this briefly on Wednesday. All right. The people available is Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, Keith Lee, Seth Rollins, and Bayley. They're all sold out, by the way. They're sold out. How much does it cost? $125. $125 to get to speak video chat with your favorite WWE star. Now, you may say to yourself, okay, $125, you know, it's a little pricey, but hey, you get to meet, you know, like one of your favorite wrestlers, you know, it's worth it. Then you start realizing what you get for $125. You get a 2-minute video chat with your favorite star. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. You get to download your video, and you get the opportunity to buy exclusive autographed items. Not giveaway prizes, not a drawing, but you get exclusively the option of buying items. That's the deal. And I was joking with somebody on Wednesday, and this is no joke, man. You know, we get super chats here, all different amounts. Popular amount that a lot of people like to send in is $1.99, and any amount is always appreciated. You see, a lot of what you do helps make the shows get better, sounding, video, everything. I always look to give you the best. I work hard for this, and no, it's not to be a middle-aged wannabe YouTube star. It's called having fun and giving you the best product I possibly can. But when someone gives me a $1.99 super chat, I want you to think about that for a minute. And this is not a joke. If you think about this 2-minute call that you get to have with your favorite WWE superstar, that comes out to $1 to a minute. $1 a minute. No, excuse me, what am I saying? $1 a second. If you think about it, there's 60 seconds in a minute. There's 120 seconds in 2 minutes. It's costing you $125. So it's literally $1 a second to talk to your favorite superstar. So now if you want to equate that to a super chat here, it would pretty much be this. Hey, what's going on, Puffy? No, have a nice day. That's like 2 seconds. That is what you would get on the video chat. Hey, big shout out to Puffy. See ya. That's what you would get compared to that. So to me, of course, they can't stay on the phone all day long. And they're only doing like 2-hour stints. On Saturday, Keith Lee will be on at 10 a.m. Sunday, Bayley will be on at 10. Strowman will be on at 1. Monday, Drew McIntyre at 10 a.m. and Seth Rollins at 1. They're only doing video one time. So I'm hoping that these 2-minute calls turn into 5 minutes. Not saying 10 minutes, but $125 a pop for 2 minutes to me is, that's pretty pricey. Now, for some people out there, that'll be a chance of a lifetime. It's cheaper in some cases than a cameo, but still, if you're going to bitch about AEW heels charging $49 for a whole year, here you're charging $1 a second. That would be equivalent to 49 seconds talking to your WWE star. So just figured I'd share that. But, we'll talk about SmackDown full show in a second. Before I do that, I want to give a couple of shout-outs to our super chatters. And by the way, if you see the synopsis on YouTube, and I'm doing it on the other pages as well, we will always give a special thank you at the end for all of our super chatters that contribute to the show. Really do appreciate it. So big shout-out to Puffy89. Thank you very much, my friend. I think this is what school do you go to. I still don't speak Japan. I can write it a little bit. Somebody I sent him an autographed shirt. He wanted to frame it. God bless him to care that much about yours truly. And I actually wrote in Japanese, I can write Japan. I actually looked it up on Google, and I actually wrote it exact way you would in Japan. So, Roger Rubio, yeah, big shout out to Shaheen Nuclear Heat Graphics for tonight's template for Thunderdome. I will tell you that the number one, I always ask you for your feedback of what you want better for these shows. And the number one thing that I have not done yet is you want a bigger video box of yours truly. Now, I will admit, if I do a full video box, you kind of see a little bit of the disarray in the background over here. Let me see if I can actually pull it up. Let's take this out of here. Let me see. Oh, well, I have it really where if you look at it, okay. So you it's still cropped because I have it for tonight's show. But, if I make the whole screen just me, you see the floor, you see lights. Yeah, actually, if I go back, you'll see. Oh, yeah, I got the intro set up as well. See, you could see a little bit of one of my lights on this side, and I got lights here and lights down here. So I would have to set it up differently. So unfortunately, because I did what I just did, we could eliminate that intro just simply by closing it for today. But yeah, so the video area where you see me, that is going to get much bigger. So, so Shaheen is going to be making new templates for the shows. But I know that's a number one thing that a lot of people have requested out there. So thank you again for the kind words, Roger. Willis Wheeler says it looks like the NBA Jam crowd on the Sega. You know, that's a great comparison. Like I said, I don't care about LED screens, but it's got to be live. You know, look, not every fan out there is looking to sabotage WWE. You know, I don't know too many adults. You know, they might tweet it to come off as cool, you know, macho, but I don't know how many real adults actually would, you know, say, oh man, if I get on WWE Thunderdome, you know, I'm going to wear a New Day shirt and then I'm going to rip it off and reveal my AEW colors. First of all, if you actually look at it, you know, from so far away, it's so pixelated, you probably wouldn't see anything. And if anybody I'm telling you, if I was working in a back production and let's say I'm right now on Thunderdome and I'm on the hard camera and you see me and I'm like this and I'm live and like this, and then all of a sudden I turn around and I go about like this, I think the minute I go like this, we got to switch the camera. And you know what? If you're going to duplicate, and this is the funny thing too, you don't need to have people on standby. Minga, I just showed you before, you had this one Matarazzo that they showed him 17 times, we counted, and I probably left a few out. 17 times. So all you got to do is, if somebody's about to do something, look, even if you're wrong, you cut their feed, and a goof that you have on Thunderdome, you just duplicate his image. You know, we don't have anybody on standby. Well, take the guy with the green screen, put him over there. Take the stuffed animal, the thing that looked like Ted, put him over there. You know, and what do you think's going to happen? You think somebody on social media is going to complain, say, wow, I watched SmackDown back, and all I was going to do is go up and get a drink, and they cut my feed. Oh, boo fucking who to you? You know, so this isn't that hard. You could do the live feed. Now, it would be funny. It would really be funny if, you know, you have such a shitty episode of Raw or something, and then you have everybody on the live feed, and then they're so, like, fed up with what they're seeing, they all decide to do this. And they all walk away. It'd be funny if everybody on Thunderdome just walked away, just left their rooms. I've had it. This sucks. Corbin is your new WWE champion. We all leave the room. But they got to take some chances, man. Seriously. Do it on a tape delay. Somebody looks like they're about to do something. Just take him off the picture. And then if you're, he was just scratching his ass, he's okay. Then put him back on the feed somewhere else in the building. It's not hard. So don't give me this, that, they're going to have hundreds of people mooning and revealing AEW merchandise. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. How do you do this? Go balls out. Hype it up the way you do. And you're watching the fans, and you're watching the reaction, and not only do you have this, but you took away all of the loud cheers, all the loud boos, all the loud chants. Yes, it was only a handful of people in the NXT, but you took away that. So you took away even more of the live experience. I could make a backdrop with a green screen and take all Zoom people and just put them in the back and like, they're all enjoying my show. And they're not reacting to anything that I say. So this was great by WWE's a start, but they need to build on it and they need to fix some things and fix it quickly. You know, they have to take chances. You know, that's how I feel about it. So, thank you. Neiko says, I have really nice eyes. Yes, they're hazel. No contacts, they're hazel. You know, I haven't completely tweaked the settings of the camera yet, but when I tweak everything, like if you notice in the background, it's getting a little bit clearer. You know, I'm getting a crash course on ISO with the lighting and, you know, focusing and, you know, I still got a lot to learn. It's a learning process, but it's fun. It's fun. You know, it's a nice little challenge. And my God, you've been watching me since high school? Well, what does that mean? Are you still in high school? If that's the case, you've been watching me for the last 4 years. If you're close to retirement, then you make me feel really fucking old. So I'm just kidding with you. I appreciate it, man. Like I said, you know, I was never trying to spite or hurt anybody, but I was pretty close to being done doing shows 2 years ago. You know, I gotta go on with my life, but you know, I did the history show to try to re-challenge myself, and you know, you force yourself to make yourself busy. It's like, okay, no turning back now. It's like if you take a long drive somewhere and you're more than halfway there and you're getting really frustrated, but you're like, man, I already started the drive, let's fucking go, instead of turning around and going home. So, you know, all these challenges and the fact that you all tune in and everybody, especially live right now, that's an adrenaline rush that you can't duplicate. Seriously, I thank you all for that. I really do. Let's see. Which super chat is this? Oh, Roger Rubio. NBA's done the digital crowd so well. Yeah, man. I mean, it's, again, the world wants to smile, laugh, and get their mind off their problems. They're not looking to sabotage. Did the retribution thing get into their heads? And by the way, you know, let me say this again. For 3 straight weeks, I have been shitting on the retribution storyline. I did tell you all last week to expect a dramatic decline in the retribution storyline when they go to the Amway Center. Remember I said you're not going to see them destructing the Amway Center? Did you see anything spray painted today? Did you see anything destroyed? No, you didn't. I saw that a mile away. This storyline is taking a big shift because of the switch to the Amway Center. But I'll say this, and this is going to really be a problem. Tonight, really for the first time, you had WWE stars actually getting physical with retribution. Now, I only talk in storyline right now, all right? When I saw them coming to the rescue, and I guess we could open up talking SmackDown a little bit, but you know what, before I finish that sentence, let me just shout out 2 more people. Phillip Maffei, even though the crowd isn't really there, he likes what WWE. Yes, look, this is the beginning. They will go online, WWE. They will seek out feedback. Of course, you're going to get websites and podcasters and bloggers that will kiss their ass because they are dying to get a job in WWE. If people out there admit that, I have nothing but respect for them for trying and living out their dream, even if they do kiss butt to get to that point. I have no problem with that. But when people won't admit it, and then you see, you know, that what they're writing is basically just to get in the really good graces and this and that. What I'm saying tonight is to make it better, not to complain and say that it sucks. But this is a start. They definitely can build on that without a doubt. And David Peralta, yes, I did see about Jam Master Jay. Everybody out there knows, well, long-timers know that growing up, Run DMC was my favorite. By the way, if any of you out there used to be a fan of Public Enemy, last night I watched the BBC documentary on Public Enemy that came out about a dozen years ago, maybe a little bit less than that. And one thing that I will say about the UK, in my lifetime watching documentaries about groups, rap music, house music, disco, whatever it is, by far, BBC puts out the best documentaries. It's not even close. I know we have Unsung, which covers a lot of the music industry here in the United States, but BBC, all of you overseas that love the BBC documentaries, pat yourselves on the back because they do a phenomenal job. Phenomenal job. And again, if you've never seen the Public Enemy documentary, this is right around when Flavor Flav first started getting, you know, a lot of publicity on MTV for, you know, his show that he was doing. But fabulous, fabulous. Would not move away from my chair. But after almost 20 years, it's like 18 years, they finally arrested 2 people in the case of Jam Master Jay. It sucks because you realize, you know, all the drug dealings that were going on at that time. But, it's good that they arrested. I think one is currently in jail already. And hopefully we get closure in the case of Jam Master Jay. I know there's a lot of other people out there that, a lot of you want closure as far as tragic deaths, without a doubt. But, if they can close the case with Jam Master Jay, that would be awesome, man. And Anthony Diaz, yeah, man, I'm a big fan of the BBC. I was a big fan when they did Pump Up the Volume, and they really gave a lot of love to my friend Joey Beltram, my childhood friend, that became one of the biggest DJs in the history of dance music. And, if anybody's never seen it, if you were into old school dance music, go on YouTube and look up Pump Up the Volume. It's a 3-chapter documentary. It's about 3.5 hours long, but when you get towards chapter 3 and you see them talking about Joey Beltram, which I know a lot of you have heard of before. Joey Beltram, I don't know if he lives in Australia right now, but he's one of the biggest DJs in our lifetime. And he used to live in Middle Village, where I used to live growing up. And back in the late 80s, mid to late 80s, more mid 80s, we would hang out in his basement, and he would make beats from, his the beat machines and all that. And, when he made it, came out with some of these songs, me and my friends were just blown away. The music that he came up with, and to think we used to hang out in his basement and be like, hey, guys, what do you think of this? And you're just like, man, it's just all. One day I got to write a book. I'm not kidding. I really got to write a book of all of the experience that I've dealt in my lifetime. I think people would actually enjoy it. Not even to make money off of it. I probably would donate it to charity or something. I'm not kidding. Maybe one day I will, if I have the time to do it. But anyway, let me go back to SmackDown. There was one thing tonight that I absolutely hated. Roberto El Cool J, really enjoyed him growing up. Went to Fresh Fest 85 in Long Island. And that was such a cool thing because that was 1985. And I went with a couple of older guys who used to work in my father's deli. And we went to Fresh Fest 85. And Run DMC played, and Houdini, and LL Cool J, I think, was there, like front row. And there was a whole bunch of rap artists there. And, you talk about today with race and a lot of friction in this world. I swear to God, I could tell you with the absolute honesty, went to Fresh Fest 85 with a bunch of guys that lived in Howard Beach, Queens, big time cuisine area. And when you went into that building, black, Asian, Spanish, white, Italian, Japanese, it didn't matter what race, creed, color you were. Everybody had a great time. You didn't have people like, what are these white boys doing at these concerts? What are these white boys doing here? Don't you have some meatball parmesan to go home to eat too? Everybody got along. So, there are a lot of good people in this world. And I always say, I'm not trying to get PSA on everybody right now, but if you treat other people the way you want to be treated, and you look them in the eye as well, that's the best we can do. Treat others how you want to be treated. So anyway, biggest thing that I hated about SmackDown tonight. Again, Thunderdome, I liked it. Needs a lot of improvement, no question. We don't need to get into that again. But the Retribution opening tonight was god-awful, and I'll tell you why. They're trying to play off of reality with Antifa. Now, I can tell you from watching tons of Antifa stuff, seeing people get assaulted in certain areas of the country, seeing people that I know that go to certain schools that they said, oh my God, Antifa was here today, you had to see that stuff. And the number one thing that we all said, by far, whenever we would see these punks on TV, at a school, burning buildings, breaking into stuff, trying to provoke other people to do stuff, and they're under masks, the number one thing that we always say to this day is, take your fucking mask off, you pussy. Let's see what you look like, pussy. Or you try to pull their mask off. Let's expose to the world who these people are. So now you have Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt in the ring. And I'll get to Vince in a second. You got Braun and Bray Wyatt in the ring. They get surrounded by Retribution. First of all, Retribution just standing there and letting the Fiend wave goodbye and he disappears is ridiculously goofy in itself. Just for Retribution, just stand there and watch that. But what was even worse was when the lights came back on and the Fiend was gone and Retribution is beating down Braun Strowman. And the whole roster, or a good portion of roster, comes out, makes the stave, and they start beating up on Retribution. Again, storyline. How is it that not one WWE superstar tries to pull off a mask? To watch that in the ring, it turned into a horrendously stupid wrestling storyline, more than, trying to like reflect reality. Not one person tries to pull off a mask. And I'm saying to myself, you got to be kidding to me. You got to be kidding me. Seriously. I mean, I'll repeat what I said last week, because after tonight, I feel it even more. The only part of this Retribution storyline that I'm looking forward to, that I may like, period, is the reveal. And I'm not talking about some of the people that are already under the mask that we know about. There's going to be a big head on this snake. So we want the big reveal of who the head is on the snake. Sorry, kiddies. You can't rip Dominic Dijakovic and say, he's so bland, he sucks. He would be a jobber 30 years ago, and I don't even know why he's getting this push. And then he pulls a mask off, and then all of a sudden, oh my God, Dijakovic's the leader of Retribution. That's awesome, that's awesome. That's what I have to say to you. Seriously, I fought in your mouth with your stupidity. Renee Young. She gave her notice to WWE. She's leaving. She's out of here. We probably will never see Renee Young on WWE television again at this time. So what happens? They announced today that Talking Smack is returning starting tomorrow. And the host is going to be Xavier Woods and Kayla Braxton. Now, Kayla Braxton has been having beautiful podcasts already. She's been doing the bump. I'm actually a fan of Kayla Braxton now. I had that little skirmish with her from the 7-Eleven incident, but I am a fan of Kayla Braxton now. She has amped up her game. She is great. So she now will be the co-host of Talking Smack. And the same people who were praising the crap out of Kayla Braxton doing the bump and everything else, now they're saying, oh, look, what a big fuck you to Renee Young, that now she's leaving and they're bringing back Talking Smack and they're making Kayla Braxton the host. And look, talk about disrespect after everything that and this is not just one person saying it. I did a search on social media to see what the overall environment was about Renee Young. I wanted to see how many people were going to say, she's going to AEW. I want to see how many people were saying, she's doing this. I want to see how many people were saying that maybe she's going to go into, other forms of entertainment, and all I kept reading over and over again, wow, WWE is so petty that because Renee Young's leaving, now they're bringing back Talking Smack and they're going to put Kayla. Dweebs, how do you even know if maybe WWE already had this plan to bring back Talking Smack to follow Thunderdome, and maybe Renee Young was offered that spot? People out there actually think that WWE brought back Talking Smack without Renee Young to spite her. Again, these are the same people that are insisting that WWE, a publicly traded billion-dollar company with stock, is turning around and wiping under the rug Velveteen Dream and hiding his pedophilia because they like him as a star. Again, look at the source where this has come from. The same people are saying this about Renee Young. Oh, WWE's doing this to her because how do you even know? Maybe they offered her the spot. No, I'm going to leave. Or Renee Young, look, we want you to host this, and this is all we want you to do. No, I'm going to give my notice. You don't know what's going on. And as far as mapping out her future, she's AEW bound. You heard it here first. Mark my words. She's AEW bound. Deodorant, Nautica. I use a lot of these like Dracar and Nautica deodorants. Stinky. But you see all these people mapping out Renee Young's career? She's going to AEW. Oh, no, she's going to move on to Fox Sports. How's this for an idea? We don't know what Renee Young wants to do. We're not in the bedroom with Jon Moxley and Renee Young. So how's this? Let them dictate their own future. You heard it here first. She will appear in AEW. I told you. How's about, you know what? Maybe they want to have babies. Maybe she wants to take some time off. Maybe she wants to go to AEW. Maybe she wants to pursue a bigger career outside of wrestling. What does that even mean? You heard it here first. She's going to be in AEW. Yeah. And can we map out your career? For all of those people out there that do that, all of you that come across those people, let's map out their career. Let's map out their career. What kind of employment are they going to get? I'm telling you, you heard it here first. He'll be pumping gas. People that think they know the most, you notice they do the least. You know, the people that actually go out and do, those are the people that I'll actually listen to and think about a little bit. Renee Young has given us a hell of a lot of entertainment. I take pride, and I've even tweeted about it too. You do an advanced Twitter search on my account and type in Renee Young. I've tweeted about her maybe a dozen times during her career. Every single time I was always positive. All right. I know she wasn't that great on commentary, but she went into that with no experience really other than doing some stuff in NXT. And when she started, I just immediately thought about Taz. When Taz used to say that he started doing WWE commentary and Vince is screaming in his ear and this and that. And then, you know, she's got to find cadence to go along with other WWE announcers that have been doing it for years and years and years. It's not easy. And I always supported her. I support whatever she decides to do. I think everybody out there, it is cool to just thank her and support her no matter what she decides to do. But, you know, I would stay away from, you know, saying that you have her future all mapped out when you don't even have your own future mapped out, in my opinion. So, anyway, Renee confused with Brandy. I could see a mixed tag, maybe. Hopefully not. Forget I said that. So anyway, SmackDown opened up. Vince in the ring. I wrote a tweet earlier. I wanted SmackDown to open up with Thunderdome, have Vince in the ring, get on the microphone, short to the point, welcome to Thunderdome. And that's it. They kind of did that. He was going to start talking more. Then the Fiend's music, well, his intro interrupts him. And it was cool because, you know, the lights went off, the screens went off, everything went off. And see, that's another thing, too. You go back to the screens. If everybody there was live and had a live feed and they could see in their viewpoint what they're watching. You know, when you turn around and you saw earlier in the night when Otis went in the face of some of those screens, I think it'd be pretty cool if I was sitting at home and I'm on Thunderdome and my screen is featured in the first or second row and a wrestler is getting in my face and I hear the audio and through my screen I'm like telling, shut up, get out of here. You know, that looks cool on the screen. We don't hear what I'm saying. I could be like, yeah, go, your mother, you know, you don't hear it. But they had Vince, he was going to talk a little more. The Fiend comes out. And, you know, we don't know if the Fiend is actually going to attack Vince or not. One point, the Fiend sticks out his tongue. He starts laughing. He's interacting with Vince a little bit. Then Braun Strowman's music hits. He comes out. Vince is out of the ring. Braun and Bray are face-to-face. And then Retribution is around the ring. And as I said before, god awful. You know, the Fiend is waving goodbye, and just pay attention to Retribution when the Fiend did that. They're all like, I mean, we couldn't see their facial reactions, but if you took their mask off, they'd be like, "Talk the motherfuckers. Where's the baseball bats? Why do you let them stand face to face and you don't do nothing?" Horrendous storyline. The lights go off. Fiend is gone. Comes back on. Braun's in the ring. Retribution starts beating them down. Here comes part of the WWE roster to save the day. They start beating up Retribution. Retribution gets out of Dodge, and none of them lose their mask. None. I mean, at least pull the mask off of someone and let them just cover their face and run off or something like that. Put their T-shirt over their head. But the fact, you do realize how dumb that comes across, that here comes WWE to save the day, and they're all wearing loose ski masks, and nobody tries to, I mean, Michael Cole every week, who are they? What do they want? Well, you could add a simple answer by just going, in storyline, I might add. So anyway, oh, thank you. The goofs that did not pull the masks off were Otis, Matt Riddle, Sheamus, AJ Styles, King Corbin, Dana Brooke, and Shorty G. And we found out later on in the night when Jeff Hardy had come out, they thought that maybe Jeff Hardy was attacked by someone on Retribution. It ended up it was AJ Styles with a cheap shot. And throughout SmackDown, they were selling that Jeff Hardy got a knee injury because of AJ Styles, teasing that maybe Jeff Hardy may not be able to compete in the match. So Miz also came out, didn't really do much of anything. Drew Gulak came out, didn't really do much of anything. Jey Uso came out. Then we have a match, Biggie versus Sheamus. And, fun match. But again, you go back, watch the fans. Again, this is the first match. And that's another thing, too. I can't emphasize this enough. You just debuted Thunderdome. You got all these screens of all of these fans. You would think that they would have told all the fans, even if it was pre-recorded, when you see the countdown on your screen go to 0, I want everybody to be animated, scream this, and even if you don't hear them. But the minute those screens came on and Vince is in the ring, every single Matarazzi in that screen should have been like, and they're all there like, some of them you could have swore they were jerking off. Guy was sleeping. Did you see the box? The guy like this? Again, 20, I don't do... Sorry, I hit two buttons at the same time. Ho, ho, ho. Green Giant. I don't do that anymore. I think Braun Strowman has really turned it up. I really can't say anything negative about Braun Strowman right now. We've been saying for weeks now that Braun Strowman may be turning heel. They might be doing a babyface turn with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt just finished doing an interview as Bray Wyatt. Very, very cool, down to earth. Something you normally would not see when he was full-fledged heel as The Fiend. Even though if you watch some of the skits, it's still keeping it very, very murkied waters. Murkied waters. Darren says that I suck. If I suck, then you blow. But, no, but seriously, the minute we saw Vince in that ring, first of all, why, even if WWE didn't tell me to do something, if I'm on the hard camera and I'm there for history and I see Vince in the ring, you know what I would do? I don't care if I'm in my house. I don't care if I look ridiculous on camera. I would be bowing down. They're all standing like this. No reactions. And the Biggie Sheamus match, nothing. No reactions whatsoever. Big E gets the win. And, I liked the match. They teased a little bit of flickering of the lights. They got to stop that crap. Retribution runs out of the building. They have some magic power that somebody's always by the circuit breaker. And not only that, I challenge anybody right now. I challenge you to the WrestleMania match, the match at the WrestleMania. I challenge you right now. Seriously, I challenge any of you right now. Grab your phone, and if you send me the feed live tonight, let's see, it's 11:16 right now. If you record it and send me a tweet with your feed before midnight tonight, I will send you a $100 gift card from me to Amazon or Pro Wrestling Tees. I don't care if 1,000 of you do it. I challenge you right now, in your house before midnight, make your lights flicker. Make your lights flicker in your house. You know, not off and on, because I could do that all night long. You know, make it flicker. Tell me how you make it flicker. Seriously. You know, it's getting a little bit out of hand with this flickering. They're flickering the lights. If you're fucking with the lights, just turn them off. If you're flickering with it, just turn them off. I don't know, man. Getting gas again. Feel it coming. I get agita. You know, I could, you know, when with Draws, with Vince, he's gonna puke. He's gonna puke. I could do that with gas. Seriously, on call, most of the times I could do it. He's gonna fart. He's gonna fart. So, Biggie gets the win. Sheamus went for the bro kick. The fight, you know, distracted him because they were brawling. Corbin, Riddle, blah, 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 blah. Biggie ends up rolling up Sheamus for the win. No reaction from Thunderdome whatsoever. Again, they can fix all this. And I have hope that they will. But, you know, just not thought out well enough. Next, we have Lucha House Party. They get a tag team title match against Nakamura and Cesaro. A lot of us were thinking that maybe it ends in either this ends in a clusterfuck, or AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy ends in a clusterfuck, and then they have another match at SummerSlam. But then I was thinking, we got Payback's pay-per-view a week later. So not every match ends up on SummerSlam. Maybe AJ Styles gets Payback on Jeff Hardy on Payback instead of SummerSlam. Who knows? But we have the Lucha House Party, which I could swear won a match not too long ago where they were getting a tag title match and they lost on SmackDown. Now they're getting a tag title match again. They lose. At one point, you had, was it Lince Dorado that tried to do that Huracan Rana outside the ring? And no, it was Grand Metalik. That's what it was. Grand Metalik. If you see it outside the ring, what he tried to do was, look, it's not easy. None of us could do it. He tried to dive over the top rope, you know, and then hit a Huracan Rana onto Cesaro outside the ring. And unfortunately, his legs didn't catch. Cesaro could not brace any of his fall, and Grand Metalik went over the rope, splat. I don't think it hurt him as much as it looked across TV, but it was a pretty big botch. But in the end, Cesaro and Nakamura retained. They go into SummerSlam with no match at all. And then after that, we get a little bit of a tease. Kalisto, caught up, jacked. Kalisto, not very happy at my tag partners. Grand Metalik, you fuck up. You know, I don't know if he actually talks like that, but Kalisto none too happy. So, are we going to get a breakup? I personally think Lucha House Party doesn't need 3 people. Who out there really needs 3 people? I know you may say New Day, but right now, Big E, they want to push singles. So, you know, keep Lucha House Party as 2 people. Grand Metalik, you know, whatever you do with him, you know, you do. And, but the thing is that, and I've said this for a while now, nothing against Lucha House Party, but WWE's never really put the ball behind them. I've never been like a huge fan of their work. I mean, you know, I have newfound respect for their work individually because I've checked some of their backgrounds before even making it to WWE. But Kalisto, it always felt like it was a Rey Mysterio ripoff, and now you got the real thing in WWE, and you got his son. It's like, what do you do with Kalisto? You know? And you don't have any live fans there in attendance. So, you know, thank you, Benjamin. Thank you. Yeah, as far as the swinging the cameras around, things were very, very shoddy tonight with WWE. George was not too impressed with Thunderdome. Look, to go from the Performance Center to the Amway Center was big. Even if you didn't have Thunderdome there, I think it still would have had a much bigger feel to it. The arena was set up awesome. The intros were great. My God, when the LED screens for the fans, when that would be part of the intros for the wrestlers, that was beautiful. It was phenomenal. So overall, it's definitely a step up. But you have to have, if you're going to have fans shown, they need to be live. They need to be reacting what's in the ring. Because all that looks, if you would have recorded their footage a week ago, or you did it tonight, a half hour before, we would have not known it or seen any difference. It looks like you took stock footage and you didn't even, because you don't have the technical capability yet to have 500 different fans on the LED screens, you use smoke and mirrors by only using 50 or 60, and you use the same schmucks' heads multiple times. Like I said, I've missed a few on here, and this is only one side of the building. And right there, you got 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. And again, there's like 2 or 3 on here that I forgot to circle. You know, look at it closely. Look at the guy with the green. You could count 4 or 5 times with him. Look at the guy with the yellow T-shirt on the bottom. You know, you look around, you could see. And again, if you actually look close. All right, look, here. I can't point it out because I'm not doing a split screen. But you see the second yellow circle on the left? You see the yellow second circle? All right, the second one? Just look 3 boxes to the right, and you see some brunette, some female brunette that has like a picture frame behind her. Look right below her head. That's her again. All right. If you look around, you will see people sitting next to them, to each other, side by side. I mean, if you actually dissect this closely, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. And, you know, look, it's better than nothing, but this is WWE. This is a $1 billion company. They have dramatically beautiful production. For WWE, we should not be it's better than nothing. They just banked $40 million profit for the last quarter. Doesn't cost $1 million, $2 million to add an extra 1 or 2 people and have the capability to have 500 LEDs different than 50. All right, we should not have to. Well, it's better than nothing. Not for WWE standards, in my opinion. So, yeah, I'll get into the other super chats because we didn't get to Alexa Bliss yet. I have you on the horizon. No. Who said that can't be due to me? Tony Gloss. Are you watching wrestling since '86? Okay, maybe. If you were going to say you're watching DT since '86, then there's something creepy going on because I didn't start doing shows until '97. So, but I'll get into, Neil, your Alexa Bliss in a moment because we're going to get to that. So, we have Lucha House Party lose to Cesaro and Nakamura. Next, we have the Bayley and Sasha Banks promo. They're interviewed by Corey Graves. They're talking about the fact that they're both having to defend their title at SummerSlam against Asuka. And Corey Graves is trying to tease dissension, like, are you two going to split? And, not for nothing, that was so choreographed because they really haven't teased the split in quite some time. You may remember many months ago, and it might be before COVID, or right around the time when COVID started, that Corey had teased with the two of them that are they going to break up. It almost felt like when that happened in March or wherever it was, when Corey did that interview, it's almost like they hit the pause button, and then tonight they hit the pause button again, and he just picked up where he left off in March. There has been nothing really, other than the fact that Bayley had, Sasha in a match, or, Sasha, they're talking about, oh, Bayley's going to have the first match, but Sasha, you can have it first. And that, after all of that, that's where you tease a breakup. It was too forced, in my honest opinion. And it ends up, we get a beat the clock challenge tonight. Naomi comes out, and she gets a little bit of an intro today. And they basically decide that they're going to have a beat the clock challenge. Whoever loses beat the clock will face Asuka first at SummerSlam. Now, my immediate reaction is, I hope they don't have Naomi lose twice tonight, because what's worse than losing once for Naomi? It's losing twice. What's even worse than that? Losing beat the clock matches. Because whenever a beat the clock match happens, it's usually extremely effing short. So what happens? Sasha Banks faces her first. Sasha Banks beats her in like 3.5 minutes. And I'm saying to myself, oh, okay, here it comes. Social media in an uproar. They're not only having Naomi lose once, she's losing twice. And she's losing 2 and 3 minute matches. 3:39 was the official time, by the way. But we get a surprise. Naomi beats Bayley. And therefore, Bayley fights Asuka first at SummerSlam. Now, this doesn't help Bayley or Sasha or Naomi or Asuka in any way, shape, or form. After the match was over, Asuka comes out. She beats down Sasha Banks a little bit. She beats down Bayley. Bayley runs away, and they're trying to play off like Bayley's not even trying to help her partner. To me, it's forcing this tease of dissension without actually acting it out, which I think is just really sloppy, in my opinion. Like I said, you could do Thunderdome and have beautiful visuals, but if the storylines are shit, and the things that you haven't liked, which have led to these really low ratings, if that doesn't improve, again, it's like you took a piece of Spam and you put some garnish over it. That, wow, this looks really, really nice. Spam. It's still the same product, just looks not, it's just a shittier product looking nicer. So they got to turn up these storylines a little bit. And it's not the fault of Bayley or Asuka or Sasha or Naomi or anything else. This is the way WWE is going about it. So we get that. Next, earlier in the night, we have Mandy Rose. I like her with her hairstyle right now. But she cuts a promo, not directly talking about what happened with Sonia Deville in the incident, and her, but, just indirectly talking about it. The Sonia Deville has gone through a lot this week, and Mandy Rose feels terrible for her, and she thinks that somewhere out there, there's good still in Sonia Deville. And she doesn't sort of necessarily say that she's calling off the match, hair versus hair, but she's basically like saying, let's go back to what we were, So we don't know at this time if Sonia Deville is going to respond there, or is she going to be there? Is it going to be a simulcast? We don't know. But after this whole incident in the ring with Asuka and Sasha Banks and Bayley, and the match was with Naomi, we see Sonia Deville in the back. And Dana Brooke goes up to her, and Dana Brooke is trying to show support for Sonia Deville. And Sonia Deville's like, look, it's nothing I can't handle. And Dana Brooke is like, still, I'm just really sorry for what happened. And Sonia Deville just, remember the beginning of Tonight Show? When I incorrectly named the name of the show? It was one of those. Slap. Sonia Deville slaps, Dana Brooke in the face. And I don't know, for some reason, maybe she thought there was blood on it, but Dana Brooke, she's like looking at her hands like, what does she think? The redness from her face is going to go onto her hands? Hey, my hand is red too. But Sonia slaps the shit out of Dana Brooke. One slap, big slap. Sonia Deville is on the rampway. Again, this is where, like I said, you don't even have the NXT fans jeering Sonia Deville. There is no reaction because the people there, it's not a live feed. Their audio is not attached. So you got Sonia Deville cutting a promo. Might as well have just done it in the back. But Sonia Deville basically just reads the riot act to Mandy Rose. And she says, you know what? Hair, basically says hair versus hair is not good enough. You know, she wants to up the ante a little bit. Here's Mandy Rose trying to smooth things out to show a little support. Sonia Deville is basically like, look, I'll up the ante even further. Let's have a no DQ match, and let's have loser leaves WWE. Now, the funny thing about it is, if Mandy Rose has the power to offer to call off the match, and Sonia Deville has the power to agree to it or disagree and change the match, then why doesn't Mandy Rose have the power to say, no, I'm not going to have that match. You're not in your right frame of mind. I'm not going to have that match. So why is it that Mandy Rose must have this match? I'm just talking storyline purposes. But so now that match has changed, and as I said earlier, I was convinced, and I said it last week, I was convinced Sonia Deville is getting her hair cut. Because hair versus hair matches, that's what usually happens. And Sonia Deville, you know, obviously with what happened, as ridiculous as it sounds, it's not as ridiculous as you think. If Sonia Deville was still going to be an active competitor, I don't think they wanted, or she even wanted, to be showing up in court bald. You know, I know it sounds ridiculous, but still. At the same time, though, she definitely deserves some time off, maybe to be with family, to try to get her, you know, head in the right place. This is extremely traumatic. Could only imagine what she's going through. But again, for a lot of people out there, you need to remember about Mandy Rose as well, because she was on that complex too. And again, if you read everything about this psychopath, you know, Mandy Rose could have been killed that night. Obviously Sonia Deville as well. But this guy, he had an obsession that he cared about Sonia Deville. Sonia Deville didn't answer any stuff. Remember when I talked about Wednesday? I'm not comparing the psycho to, you know, Velveteen Dream's accusers, but my point is that there's people out there that interpret things in a very warped way. You know, because Sonia Deville doesn't acknowledge him or say thank you for his stuff. It's almost like that movie, The Fan, that I watched again the other day. Great movie if you've never seen it. Hey, Bobby! Robert De Niro, Wesley Snipes. That's an awesome movie. Talk about a guy obsessed with someone in a good way, and because that person doesn't show appreciation for it, that fan turns into a psycho. That happens a lot on social media. There are people out there are grown-ass adults out there that have this weird fascination tweeting some celebrities, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and, you know, like they'll hashtag, they'll add tweets to their own tweets, they'll follow up on the tweets, they'll do this, and looking for some type of acknowledgement out of there. And unfortunately, a lot of celebrities, they don't pay no mind to all of us out there. You know, so some people just take it like, hey, you know, that's celebrity for you. Some people take it way too personal. And Lord knows what could have happened. That's just terrible to think about, but it's just a fact. So I think Sonia Deville, she gets time off. She could deal with what's going on, get a little bit of a break. And at the same time, though, you know, hell, you know, Mandy Rose should get a little bit of a break as well, in my opinion. So, Cassette Classics, do I take $100,000 to be a writer but have to deal with Vince McMahon? Sure. You know, I mean, a job is a job. You know, unfortunately, jobs are not always fun, and they're not always the most ideal. But but you still got to put in hard work. And I just feel like if you want to work at something, like I said, and that's why I used to support Trump more. And we're not bringing up politics, but my point is that, sure, Trump is a scumbag. He's a very blunt asshole at times. He will troll trolls. Somebody talks shit about him, he'll give it back 10 times more. It comes off as immature as well. But, you know, no denying, lifting regulations and doing some of the things he did helped create jobs and boost the economy and did other things, you know, for whatever. You could say, oh, well, Obama and Biden did that. Well, then, you know, look at it like this. If it wasn't for the virus, Trump didn't screw that up for 4 years. So my point is that I'd rather work for a boss that may be an asshole, may be sort of a scumbag, but I know my job is secure. I know my pay is secure. I know that, you know, I have a future ahead. Than to work for someone, oh, he's nice. What a wonderful guy. Man, don't you just love him? You know, we should name, you know, a statue after him. But then there's so much uncertainty and you're not getting paid well and your future isn't. No, I'd rather work for an asshole and be successful, in my opinion. Not everybody could do that. Not everybody could do that. It's not that easy. So anyway, we get AJ Styles versus Jeff Hardy. Originally, the trainer feels that Jeff Hardy, you know, I'll clear you. You know, if you can stay on the night, I'll clear you. And Jeff Hardy says, no, I'm good to go. They start the match. Before the match, Daniel Bryan on Zoom again, nowhere near the arena. And Daniel Bryan showed more energy on that 30-second Zoom than the fans on the screen the whole night. Seriously. Even if it was pre-recorded, why aren't these fans just like, you know, like just like having a good time? There were so many of them who were just like there. Like you almost looked like they weren't even looking at a screen. You know, like, hey, you know, let's test your video. Look in this screen for 20 minutes. You know, you're just looking at a picture of something. Just look at 20 minutes. Now, I'm not going to say it for 20 minutes. And then, all right, we're done. Wait, that's it? And now my image is on Thunderdome. That's what it feels like. But the storyline in the match is that Jeff Hardy had very little offense in the beginning, you know, selling the knee injury, and AJ Styles taking his time, being a little bit methodical, and, you know, at some points got the upper hand in Jeff Hardy. And I think almost all of us felt that they were going to use the knee injury as the out for AJ Styles to beat Jeff Hardy. But instead we get a swerve. We basically get AJ Styles getting hit in the face with Jeff Hardy's knee brace. Jeff Hardy hitting the twist of fate. Then the Swanton Bomb. Wins the Intercontinental Championship. Surprising. It was interesting because after the match, Jeff Hardy is cutting a promo, talking about how he used to be in a bad place and this and that. And I don't know if it was just a faux pas in the back, or maybe they just don't want him to keep bringing up, because he technically said that when he won the Intercontinental Championship last time that he was all fucked up. I hate to say it like that, but that pretty much felt like that's what he said tonight. The last time I held this title, I wasn't in the right place. What are you saying? I was all drugged up when I was Intercontinental Champion next time. But they cut to his music early. Now, some of us kind of thought, oh, maybe they're doing something with Retribution. You know, but then you were like, oh, why would Retribution hit his music? You know, it would be like kind of ridiculously stupid when you think about that. But they cut his music. They cut him off with his music. He goes in the back. And then we get a hilarious quick segment with AJ Styles and Joseph Park, and he's blaming Joseph Park for him losing the title. There was statistics that were wrong and this and that. And Joseph Park, man, I fucking love that character. They got to keep doing segments with him and AJ Styles. Joseph Park should set up a rematch for AJ Styles, let it happen at Payback or something like that. One thing I will say, I truthfully believe, and I'm not saying this is a good thing or a bad thing, I think Jeff Hardy's title reign is going to be extremely short. Extremely short. So, yes, Darren, AJ Styles lost the Intercontinental Championship. So I don't think Jeff Hardy's reign will be that long, to be honest with you. So now, finally, we get the last segment of the night. Firefly Funhouse. Bray Wyatt, rambling about Alexa Bliss, talking about, Braun Strowman. And by the way, I think this was Neil that said this earlier, and I definitely want to pull this up. He said that Alexa should go heel, then face Nikki at Payback. I like the idea, man. I still feel that if you're going to turn Bray Wyatt babyface, then it kind of like doesn't make real sense to have Alexa Bliss being drawn to him, because you want to be drawn to the Maniac, drawn to the King Kong, drawn to the Animal, not when he turns softy. So personally, I still love the idea that if Bray Wyatt was still remained a heel as the Fiend, you have Nikki Cross go to the other side and have Nikki Cross be with the Fiend. But hell, if Braun Strowman is going to turn heel, what you can do is you can have Alexa Bliss show up during the match with the Fiend and Braun Strowman at SummerSlam, and Alexa Bliss is, like Bray Wyatt, like she's showing that she's still attracted to Bray Wyatt, and maybe Bray Wyatt acts like he's in a little bit of a trance with Alexa Bliss. Then the next thing you know, Alexa Bliss gives Bray Wyatt a low blow. Braun Strowman hits his finisher. Braun Strowman retains. Alexa Bliss is a heel. Braun Strowman is a heel. And this kind of turns Bray Wyatt. And maybe you could still do something with Nikki Cross and Bray Wyatt, but I like Bray Wyatt with Nikki Cross more than with Alexa Bliss, in my honest opinion. I know a lot of people don't feel the same way, but it's just me thinking a little bit outside the box. But, Jody thinks Charlotte will be back at SummerSlam. It's possible. Definitely possible. Why not? Where's Carmella been? Is Carmella going to be under that mask? I don't know. Does it make sense? So, we have the Firefly Funhouse. It ends up Braun Strowman shows up. And we also realize that the Firefly Funhouse is at the Amway Center, because Braun shows up. Braun, once again, away from the camera. It's just me being a stickler to detail. When they showed Braun halfway off the camera in the Firefly Funhouse, and he's supposedly punching Bray Wyatt, who is down, I think we should at least hear. I mean, I'm not even hitting myself hard, and you hear that connecting. Braun is like, and you don't hear any slap to fly. It just, to me, it was careless, junk. But Braun and Bray, they're brawling in the back, and it ends up thereby. It kind of reminded you when Braun pushed, was it Roman Reigns that was in the on the stretcher? Was it Roman Reigns that was on the stretcher and he pushed him off, and then he was just laid splat? Why does that not sound right? Who was on the stretcher that Braun Strowman pushed off that rampway that time? And they did all the repeats and everything. And it was Kane? Was it? Wait, Kane did that? He did that to Kane? No. Maybe Kane, did Kane do that to Roman Reigns? Well, okay, so Kane, oh yes. So, okay, Kane did that. So that was the ambulance match. Okay, yes, all right. But my point is, what you saw tonight kind of felt like the same thing. Only difference is we didn't see Bray Wyatt once again, just like Mercedes Martinez, just like other moves. You don't see the actual splat to concrete, because nobody should be taking bumps onto concrete. And by the way, I did see that footage of Vince McMahon jumping off the top when they did that little thing with WrestleMania. If you haven't seen it, it's all over Twitter. It's all over social media. Vince McMahon, with Mojo Rawley and that other fuck from the Patriots. I don't remember his name. I don't even want to remember his name. Somebody will unfortunately remind me. But, Vince, showing that, hey, it's not a big deal. You could fall off. And Vince, 74 years old, 10 feet down. So, God bless, man. Not Riddick Moss, the fucking Patriots guy. The one that's, holy shit, Gronk. Yes, Gronkowski. Thank God I forget his name once in a while. Gronk. Man, was that a waste of money. Look, I don't blame him for going back to the NFL, though. One point, he's going to be too old and he can't do it anymore, so he might as well enjoy it now. He could always go back to wrestling. So, but anyway, kind of was reminiscent with Roman Reigns in the stretcher. Braun, throws Bray off, and they go with an ambulance. And it was really stupid because you have Adam Pearce, who's basically telling the ambulance, go, get out of here, because Bray Wyatt was acting like he was unconscious. They put him in the ambulance. They're like, go. And to me, it looked like the gates were down, that the ambulance couldn't go. And I see Adam Pearce. He's like, what are you waiting for? Go. And the funny thing is, everybody's yelling at the back of the ambulance, but nobody's going to the front of the ambulance. If you're yelling at the driver, you go up to the driver and you're knocking on the window. What the fuck are you waiting for? Get the hell out of here. Go. Get out of here. They're all yelling at the back of the ambulance. Now, my thinking is, all right, maybe they'll do something where Braun is the driver, which is very predictable. Maybe they're doing something where Retribution won't let the gate come up. Or maybe Retribution carjacks the ambulance. Come up with some different scenarios. But no, suddenly the back of the ambulance turns red, kind of like special lighting. And everybody's like, what is that? Oh, what is that? Adam Pearce is shot. We're all at home like, oh, the Fiend's going to come out. It's his colors. But everybody else is like, oh, what's that? And the Fiend comes out. He's just standing there, and we go off the air. Look, not a bad episode of SmackDown. Going into SummerSlam, nice lead-in. To me, I think, Thunderdome, nice concept. A, first, good start. If it ends up this way, it's going to get old very quickly. A for effort. Building looks great. Setup looks awesome. Lighting, special effects, beautiful. But they definitely need to improve on that. People are not going to keep drawing ratings to this with pre-recorded people looking at their phones, texting their friends that I'm on Thunderdome, and they're not paying attention to the wrestlers winning and losing in the ring. Why? Because they're pre-recorded. That just looks horrendous. To have, and then just think about that for a minute. I already closed that picture, but how does that come across on TV that I seem to see the same schmuck 11 times on the hard camera? I see the same goofy schmuck. And I have a lot of people in the chat, they're like, man, I registered, I wanted to be part of it, they never got back to me. And then you realize they had 11 on one side, 17 total of one schmuck, because they don't have the electronic capability of having 500 different people on the LED screens. So what do? They use 50. They copy it and duplicate it 10 times and scatter it around so we don't notice that. That's not WWE standards, in my opinion. That is not WWE standards. So now we get to SummerSlam, and here is my predictions for SummerSlam. My God, I didn't even realize we didn't even do the history show yet. So we're at an hour and 45 minutes. If you're all enjoying the show, I'll make a deal with all of you out there right now. If you're enjoying the show, if you give it a thumbs up, if you're liking the show, give it a thumbs up. And if a whole bunch of you give it a thumbs up, because it helps me get a little more exposure on YouTube, I'll go for an extra half hour. So right now it's 11:50 Eastern. I'll go to 12:30 a.m. So I'll stick around for another 40 minutes. How's that? Is that a nice deal? Everybody in audio is like, do it. Let me take a little slug of my water. We'll get into SummerSlam predictions. We'll do a little history stuff, and then we'll talk about AEW with the ticket scalper. God bless Tony for trying, man. But I think some people, like I said before, I think some people are not street smart. They may be very successful and very intelligent. That doesn't mean you're street smart. I don't think Tony Khan is street smart. I'll explain why later. SummerSlam. The Street Profits versus Andrade and Angel Garza for the Raw Tag Team Championships. If Andrade and Angel Garza lose, they need to split up once and for all. Problem is, I don't care if Andrade's a babyface. Kind of made me feel the same way I was with Alberto Del Rio as a babyface. I personally think you keep Andrade and Angel Garza together a little bit longer. I like the Street Profits as tag champs, but they really have not done all that much with the belts in recent times. So I think for shock value, I want to see Andrade and Angel Garza win the tag titles. Let Zelina Vega manage a champion. I know Andrade was a champion. You don't have to tell me. But I would like to see Angel Garza and Andrade as tag champions. So that's more of me wanting than maybe actually happening. But I'm going to go with, them because I want to see them win. Franchise, I can't repeat that. Apollo Crews versus MVP for the United States Championship. Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin banned at ringside. Yeah, you could go swerve, have Cedric Alexander turn, and that helps MVP win, and that comes out of nowhere. Then you could see Cedric feuding with Apollo Crews, but since there's no title involved, it doesn't matter who wins and loses then. I personally think having Apollo Crews feud with Bobby Lashley as the next feud is the way to go. So I will say Apollo Crews retains, and maybe his next feud is with Bobby Lashley. So I'm going to say Apollo Crews retains. Dominic Mysterio versus Seth Rollins. Rey Mysterio in the corner of Dominic. Murphy in the corner of Seth Rollins. Dominic Mysterio is going to beat the shit out of Seth Rollins. It is a street fight, which, if you might remember a couple of weeks ago, I said it has to be a street fight. It will be a street fight. I think even if Dominic loses, he wins. If people understand what I mean. Dominic has done great so far. He broke his cherry with that beatdown, and he gave some of it to Seth back. A lot of people are very curious to see what Dominic does. Street fight makes sense because I don't want to see, him doing all these aerial dives and everything like that. You want to beat the shit out of Seth Rollins. Let it be more of a ground game right now. He could do some aerial. He could do the 619. He could do stuff like that. But overall, it should be a street fight. But I think in the end, Seth Rollins should retain, not retain a belt, but he should win on this. And again, Dominic could lose and still win, because I could picture the Raw the next night that Dominic gave Seth Rollins hell and Seth Rollins just pulled it out by a hair and Seth Rollins wins. So I'm going to go with Seth Rollins winning. Believe me, I tell you, as dumb as this sounds, sometimes people lose when they win because you feel like the win was forced, because WWE's thinking is this person needs to win to elevate. But sometimes when you earn your stripes and you lose, you actually win from that. I'm telling you, as ridiculous as this sounds, when Charlotte and Ronda Rousey had that match where Charlotte whipped the shit out of Ronda Rousey with the Singapore cane, that sold me on Ronda Rousey as being a wrestler. She didn't do any crazy moves or anything like that, but it just showed how much she cared and wants this, that it really turned the page for me. And that's kind of happened with me with Dominic a little bit the last couple of weeks. So Dominic, he'll lose, but he'll win at the same time. Bayley versus Asuka for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Now, I'll be totally honest with you. I picture Bayley retaining and then Asuka having a match with Sasha. And it kind of doesn't make sense, because if Asuka already has a loss, it doesn't give you much hype for her next match against Sasha Banks. Well, maybe she'll pull this one out. So I think the fact that Bayley is facing Asuka first, either Asuka wins nothing or maybe wins everything. And I'm still thinking that you might see Asuka and Shayna Baszler versus Sasha and Bayley at Payback. So there's going to be some type of faux pas on this pay-per-view, and then Asuka and Bayley and Sasha Banks are going to be forced to team up and defend their titles at Payback, and that might be the official split between the two. So it could very well be that Asuka ends up with 3 goddamn belts. But the thing is if you want Bayley and Sasha Banks to feud with each other, it should be for a title. Don't you think? So I almost feel like Asuka, if she loses to Bayley, that doesn't give you much to look forward to in a match with Sasha Banks. It almost feels like a consolation. So I feel Asuka beats Bayley, and then the hype leading up to later in the night is, could Asuka run the table and beat Sasha Banks as well? And then Sasha, so like I talked about this last week, in a matter of a week, you can have Sasha and Bayley go from having all the belts to none. And in a matter of a week, they could be on TV and be like, what happened? What happened? We lost it all. And they blame each other, and they start beating each other up, and that leads to a feud. I don't think any belts should be involved, so to speak, because then you could trade victories. So I think there is a good chance, a very good chance, that Asuka wins both belts, but then Asuka, who knows? Maybe Asuka's got to defend the belts at Payback, and maybe Charlotte, if she returns, gets a title shot too. So I'm going to say Asuka beats Bayley. I think Asuka is going to beat Sasha Banks as well. And I don't like having all these people having 2 belts. Don't get me wrong. I don't like it. I don't like that Keith Lee had 2 belts. I don't like that they had 2 belts. I mean, there was many, many years that we didn't have someone as a double champion. But Asuka's been the MVP, man. So I could see her, saying, I won this for Kyrie. So I'm going to go with, even though it's probably not going to happen, I'm going to go with Asuka running the table and beating them both. The only problem is that we got DQs involved, and who knows? Somebody could get DQ'd. That could screw it up too. Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. I'm sticking to what I said a month ago. A month ago, when Randy Orton hit Drew McIntyre with that first RKO, and they stressed on TV that came out of nowhere, Drew didn't see it coming. Then they start a pay-per-view, and they call the pay-per-view SummerSlam. You didn't see it coming. I think we're going to get the Claymore kick out of nowhere. And then the next night on Raw, Randy, you said the RKO out of nowhere? I hit the Claymore. I can't do it. I have to hear his voice first in order to really do it good. But Randy, I hit the Claymore out of nowhere, and I beat you, and I'm still champion. So I'm going to actually go with that. I know there's a lot of people thinking that there might be a swerve of Ric Flair, that Ric Flair helps Randy Orton after all. I'm not so sure about that. I feel with COVID and health and everything else, they needed a way to get Ric Flair off TV. I don't want to see Ric Flair come back with a swerve. Doesn't really lead to anything. Yeah, the Nikki Cross. I got my family in Scotland, and I keep losing. I've got my family in Scotland. I need to win. I keep losing on Hey, people make fun of New York accents, man. It's not. I'm just joking, poking fun lightheartedly. I don't think her accent is that bad. Sometimes I have no idea what she's talking about. I kind of sound like a Texan. Sound like a drunk Texan. Give me some of that. So I think Drew McIntyre retains. I really do. Mandy Rose versus Sonia Deville. No DQ. Loser leaves WWE. Mandy Rose is winning this. Miz, Morrison, Otis, Tucker, they all get involved. In the end, Sonia Deville is going to win. Sonia Deville is going to lose. Maybe she beats up Miz and Morrison after the match. Sonia will get some time off. Definitely deserving, obviously. And that leaves us to Braun Strowman versus Bray Wyatt for the Universal Championship. We have not really seen Braun Strowman do much with that belt since he won it at WrestleMania. Yes, you could blame it on COVID, but wrestling is not stopped. But his title matches, count how many minutes Braun has wrestled defending that title. Swap match was not for a title. You add up how many minutes he's wrestled defending that title, it's pathetic. It's pathetic. It's almost like an extended Raw main event match. But Braun Strowman has cut better promos the last month than he's done in his whole career. And by the way, when we get into the history, it is an anniversary this week of his WWE debut. Braun Strowman's cut the best promos of his career. He has teased that he's turning heel, which would be a nice twist right now, even though he's been a heel before. And who knows, maybe Alexa Bliss does stay with Braun Strowman all along, and it's a setup that Alexa Bliss was just toying with the Fiend, and she was with Braun Strowman all along. I see that happening. So I'm going to go with Braun Strowman retaining that title, and you probably will see Alexa Bliss get involved and screw Bray Wyatt out of winning. So, no, Darren, Sonia will lose her match. She has to leave WWE. And I think she'll probably maybe beat up Miz and Morrison after to keep her strength and go off TV. Obviously upset that she's got to leave. Maybe they'll have to drag her away. But I give them both props for still going with the match. Look, some people in tragedy and turmoil, sometimes the best thing for them is to work and continue business as usual. You know, that helps them deal with tragedy. So, you know, right now, let her take some time off. No reason why they can't do a storyline later to bring her back. You know, we've had a lot of people leave WWE in stipulations and they're back. My God, didn't Vince lose a stip and then 3 weeks later he's back? Or 30 days or something like that? So that is your SummerSlam card. And I'm telling you, I think it's going to be an excellent pay-per-view. Since it's on the WWE Network, since it's not network television, I hope everybody on Thunderdome is fucking live. Be live. Now, I'll tell you this much. If I do accept the opportunity to be on Thunderdome for SummerSlam, it's good. I don't know how it's going to interfere doing a pay-per-view recap. I'll be honest with you. I probably will bypass being part of it, and maybe I'll do it next week. But as of right now, I will be doing a SummerSlam recap right after the pay-per-view. I'm either going to be doing it solo, or Mish from Wrestling Soup will be joining me as well. Just think about it. Mish and I may end up doing 3 podcasts in less than 24 hours. Breakfast Soup Sunday, SummerSlam Sunday night possibly, and Monday show. So we may actually end up doing 3. And who knows, you know, maybe we'll do more in the future if everybody enjoys it, you know. I don't remember the last time Mish and I did, you know, like one of the show. I mean, I know we did the episode on YouTube when we broke 10,000 subscribers and I did the one chip challenge. But as far as just doing a regular show without a special theme to it, I can't remember the last time we did. But and then remember, a week later is Payback. So we got a lot of, and then right after that is All Out with AEW. So we got a lot of stuff to get into, man. Now, speaking of AEW, again, I'm not trying to be a jerk, all right? But, you know, I'm a big supporter of AEW. I think you should all know that by now. I am straight up. I'll criticize them where needed. And I will say things that make me unpopular. That's why I don't ever get acknowledged or involved with anything AEW, even though our audience is gigantic. But I know Tony Khan's just trying to do the right thing. But when he does things like this, I think he's just showing that he's not street smart. Now, we've talked before, when they did that, all that hype on social media that there's going to be an earth-shaking, shattering announcement, this and that, and then it was that they were going to do an event in Florida, and people called it Jacksonville, Dixie or something like that. And then I remember Tony Khan tweeting like, we need to be better than that. We need to not motherfucker runs the thing. Everything comes across Tony Khan first. Tony Khan knew that press release was going up. So he tried to play good cop, bad cop. A lot of people just bought it, accepted it, and moved on. A lot of us read between the lines, and, it's not street smart. In my opinion, it happened again. For those that don't know, AEW is now selling tickets again for Dynamite events. And they're only going to have Daly's place filled to about 10 to 15% capacity. Still, that's hundreds of tickets. And that's a good thing. I know Florida, they're still battling COVID worse than a lot of other places. But, we live in a free country. If you keep people socially distanced, you tell them masks are required, you do temperature checks. I stood in line in a bank today for 40 minutes. 40 minutes. Because they had two tellers, and there was tons of people cashing their checks and everything. 40 minutes I was inside the bank. That's almost a half an episode of Dynamite. 1/3 of an episode of Dynamite. And my point is, I'm inside a building with customers all around me, 6 feet apart, obviously, but we're inside a bank, no spectacular ventilation, no lights to kill germs. And I was in there almost 40 minutes. Tell me what the crazy dire risks. Can't go to a bank. So you can, do a little bit. Keep them spread out. So now what happens? This was funny. You put the tickets on sale through your regular ticket master outlets. Everybody out there, I say this lightheartedly. How the fuck does Tony Khan and others not think that scalpers are going to snatch up these tickets and put it on the secondary market? If you're selling the tickets through the regular ticket outlets, tell me what feature you added to it that prevents scalpers from snatching it up. So what happens? Scalpers, because there's very few events going on in the United States, so being able to go to an event is very rare and it's more valuable. So a whole bunch of scalpers scoop up a lot of the few tickets that were available, almost half. So now AEW fans are all in an uproar in Florida because they go on the secondary markets, and not only are all the tickets there, but they inflated the prices to disgusting levels. In some cases, $500 a ticket. That was $30 before. So how does Tony Khan deal with this? What can he say? Shame on you, scalpers. Tony Khan is not very street smart because they took no measures to prevent scalpers from buying the tickets. If they would have offered it on their own websites and had people register, almost like Thunderdome, if you live in Florida and you want to attend the event, you have to show some type of identification that you live in Florida. You have to pass a temperature check. You register with AEW's website, and we will respond by invitation only. That's how you do it. Very, very easy. You're only talking a few hundred fans. It's not brain surgery. They could have done it as simple as that. They could have followed the same formula with AEW heels. You live in Florida. You want to go to the August 26th Dynamite. You register on AEW's website, and then we will send you by invitation, and then you have the opportunity to buy X amount of tickets. No. What do? They put it on the secondary market. A lot of them get snatched up by scalpers, and then what happens is the scalpers are taking the tickets and separating them, meaning that AEW was going to set up, let's say like you buy a set of 4 tickets. They were going to set up the seating for 4 people to sit in one group, and then you have them 6 feet apart. Gee, who came up with that idea like 5 months ago? But here's the funny thing about it. Tony Khan pulls this. We're very grateful for the fast sellout of Thursday's Outdoor Dynamite live show at 10% capacity that we recently announced. The show will be open to a limited number of fans and blah, 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 blah. It was August 27th, not August 26th. The tickets were sold in groups or pods with the intention on keeping fans with their friends and families and safely distanced from other fans in attendance. We're seeing some of those tickets being sold on the secondary market in a way that splits the original pod and therefore potentially combining two or more groups with unacquainted fans in the same pod. That was not our intention. Nothing is more important than the health and well-being of our entire AEW family, and that includes our fans. It's an illegal, unethical, and inappropriate move by secondary market sellers, and we intend to police the situation online at the venue. To that end, we're asking our fans to inform us if they feel they purchased tickets that were a part of a larger pod, and we will offer a remedy. And then they actually write, if we see anyone trying to divide a pod for resale, we will cancel the entire original order. Good luck doing that, sir. Good luck doing that. You tell me what fucking laws people broke. See, on paper, emotionally, that sounds wonderful. Hey, man, Tony's looking out for all of us. He's doing the right thing and this and that. But again, this is why I say Tony Khan is not very street smart. You offer tickets, regular channels, it shows up in the secondary market. That's naive on AEW's part. Turn around and take those people that are just doing what they did before and to try to play it off that they're illegal, unethical, and this and that. Well, guess what, Tony? This is what you're going to have to do. If you sold a group of 6 tickets and you set up 6 chairs because you expect that group of 6 to show up, well, guess what? Dick and Schmuck show up. There are only 2 people. Hey, I bought this on the secondary market. There's only 2 of us. There's not 6. Well, tell me, how much of a big deal is it to take the chairs and pull them a couple of feet away? You're social distancing so many people from so far apart. If you have 2 chairs here and you have 4 chairs here, and then it ends up, because of the secondary market, 3 people are here and only 3 people are here. Well, Jesus, God fucking so hard to pick up one of those chairs and walk it over and put it where the other 2 are. This isn't brain surgery. It's only a couple of hundred tickets that they sold. So the idea that they're going to police this and try to reverse, good luck in doing that. Good luck in doing that. I want to see some of those transactions reversed from secondary market. People bought them legally. You think it's unethical? That's what those people have to say. I'm not trying to be a jerk towards Tony Khan, but that press release, that's basically him trying to play good cop, bad cop. Oh, it's unethical for scalpers to buy tickets right now. You know what I mean? So it's nonsense, man. They can accommodate appropriately. All they had to do was have people register on their website. You're only talking a couple hundred people in Florida. By invitation only. You want to buy the tickets, you send them to aewrestling.com or whatever it is, you buy the tickets through us. You don't do it through Ticketmaster. You want to sell thousands of tickets, that's different. A couple of hundred, my God, you got indie feds from ICW to GCW and all these others that have no problem selling 100 to 200 tickets. And they're a lot less, professional. I'm not trying to be critical. So come on, man. Seriously, of course, look, people that just want to tweet fuck and just want to kiss ass aren't going to bring that stuff up. I talk straight out, man. It may not be popular, but if you actually take a step back and think about it, all that press release is doing is trying to shift the blame, make the other people look like the bad people. AEW didn't do anything wrong. But to turn around and try to play unethics because your fans are pissed off that all the tickets showed up in the secondary market, too bad. That's what happens when you sell tickets the way you do. Anyway, that's why, if you remember, you remember my original idea that I said like 5 months ago, that you do groups of 2, and that if you want to go, you put in, you want to buy 1 ticket, it automatically does 2. They can't be separated. You want to go 2 people, it automatically does 4, because it forces the 2 seats next to you to be empty, and they can't be separated. That's what you do. Or you sell 1 ticket, and that 1 ticket counts for 2. Easy enough. You just say, we will do, groups of 2. You can have people buy an individual ticket, but you have a special ticket that if somebody wants to buy 2, they get a special ticket, and that 1 ticket represents 2 seats. This way you can't break them up. You can't sell it on the secondary market. If somebody wants to buy one of those double tickets and they're going alone, well, guess what? You could kick your feet up and relax because that seat next to you is empty also. That's all you had to do. I'm a freaking regular podcaster in New York that doesn't even work for one of these companies. And that is doable, easy, and one person could head all that up. Tony Khan is a very intelligent man. He comes across as a very nice man as well. Tony Khan is not very street smart, and I think that is shown a few times already. No disrespect intended, but facts are facts. So, with that said, I think we could get into the history show. Do we have anything else to get into? Well, we talked about talking smack and everything. Yeah, I think we can get into history show. Let's get into the history show. Then we're going to get out of here. And by the way, I want to thank everybody for helping this channel surpass 15,000 subscribers. All right, and I know it looks goofy with me flexing and everything. That's just me just trying to rub it into the haters. 15,000, never in a million years ever expected to get that this quickly. Now we go for 20,000. So all of you out there, if you haven't subscribed yet, join the family. And if you enjoy this channel, tell a friend, because I'm looking to expand. Once I get this new video stuff, this new equipment I just set up, a little better organized, and, get some of the behind-the-scenes stuff done. Got to address the audio stuff, because my co-host on Monday, my software, the way it's configured, it only connects to video, stuff. And I don't know what's going to happen if it connects to a feed that's just audio only. If it doesn't connect, then we got a problem on Mondays. I mean, not a problem on my end, but I got to address that. I mean, it's only fair for everybody out there. So I am working on it. Luckily, like I said, with Mish this Monday, he is doing video also, so there's no issues there. But I'll definitely keep everybody updated as far as that. Now, when we do the history thing tonight, I have 2 quick audio clips that are edited, so it allows me to play it. Just random things I want to share tonight. And 1 video clip that I think you'll get a kick out of. Just a blast from years past. But with that said, I'm going to open up my second water bottle, take a slug, and get into the history show. I get down 1 or 2 of these in one shot if I want to, but I got to save some for the end. This week in wrestling history. Oh, we'll be able to run through this pretty quickly. But, there's a lot more that went down this week in history. But I took some moments that I think you probably would get a kick out of. Some you've seen already. Some you may have only heard about. Some maybe you have never heard about. So we're going to go from left to right. Some of the boxes actually are double, representing the same event when we get to them. First and foremost, top left-hand corner. It was this week in 1994 that ECW went to the extreme. Now, everybody knows that yours truly used to own the trademark to Eastern Championship Wrestling. Well, this week in 94, Eastern Championship Wrestling became Extreme Championship Wrestling. And they had a tournament to crown the next NWA heavyweight champion. And the tournament results led to the finals of Shane Douglas beating Too Cold Scorpio. By the way, a lot of people don't know this, But this tournament that took place this week in 94, Dean Malenko was in that tournament. He lost to Shane Douglas in the semifinals, and that was Dean Malenko's debut in ECW. In that tournament, in the first round, Too Cold Scorpio beat Chris Benoit. That was Chris Benoit's ECW debut. 911 beat Doink the Clown. That was Matt Bourne's ECW debut. Dean Malenko beat Osamu Nishimura. That was both their ECW debuts. And Shane Douglas beat the Tasmaniac, you now know as Taz. The semifinals had Too Cold Scorpio beat 911. Shane Douglas beat Dean Malenko. In the finals, Shane Douglas beat Too Cold Scorpio to win the NWA Heavyweight titles. Think about that. This week, not only did that happen, Benoit, Dean Malenko, Matt Bourne, and Osamu Nishimura made their ECW debuts. Obviously, you know the rest. Shane Douglas threw the title down, proclaimed himself the first ECW heavyweight champion, and I never forget that prick, Dennis Carluzzo. You know, they filmed him after, we don't know what happened, we're looking into it. So, if you go back in my history show, I get into complete details as to what happened the weeks before that led up to this, where Paul Heyman and Todd Gordon pretty much said, we're fucking branching away from the NWA. We're getting the fuck out of here. And I'm sorry that I cursed a little bit tonight. I'm going to make sure next week I eliminate it. But this was a time coming. And that night, they threw down the NWA championship. Dennis Carluzzo looked like a total goof, and deservingly so. So there you go. I have defended this since it happened. I actually was doing a wrestling hotline when this went down. It was this week in 1998, Brawl for All. Bart Kunn beat Bradshaw to win the tournament and $75,000. Bradshaw won $25,000 for making it to the finals. I know everybody rips Brawl for All. I know Vice did their special. I have defended it since day one. Yes, some people got injured, but the first week we didn't like it, but after a while we actually liked it. And I invite anyone out there, go back and watch that match between Bart Gunn and Bradshaw. Go check out the crowd, listen to the crowd. Shawn Michaels, I remember, was on commentary, and the crowd ate it up. So you tell me how this was, a Vice, the worst tragic things in wrestling history. It was a bad decision. Some people got hurt, but to try to make it like one of the disastrous things, shut the fuck up. This week in 1997, Arn Anderson announced his abrupt retirement at the age of 38. If you look at that picture, that was the original storyline where Arn Anderson was going to give Curt Hennig his spot as far as a horseman, and then Curt Hennig would swerve the Four Horsemen, turn heel, and the rest is history. Very emotional night that night. Finn Balor, you see him there with the Universal Championship. It was this week in 2016 that he won the Universal Championship, beating Seth Rollins. It's already been 4 years. Unfortunately, Finn Balor would have to surrender the championship because of the arm injury. So that card was SummerSlam 2016. And if you remember, I believe the main event was Brock Lesnar beating Randy Orton by TKO. And didn't that lead to a fist fight between Brock Lesnar and Chris Jericho in the back? I think that actually may have been the case. So, so that was SummerSlam 2016. Now we go to the bottom. Now, this is edited, but, if you watch it, the acting is even worse. To me, it's one of the most god-awful storylines in the last 10 years, easy. And what was so ridiculously bad, and I've been ripping it for 6 years now, that the Bellas were feuding. They hated each other. They were going to fight each other. And the same week that this went down, they were spotted together in a restaurant in California. And they're like, oh, could we take pictures and could we talk to you? And the fucking Bellas, like I said, I know the cat's out of the bag. We know this is predetermined storyline, But Jesus Christ, you're in a middle of a heated storyline where you hate each other on TV and you're spotted the same week dining together. I mean, at least make a freaking effort. Make an effort. But it was this week in 2014. We got this gem on Raw.
You are one sad.
Oh, well, I gotta rewind this. Here we go. Hold on. I got it.
You are one sad excuse of a sister.
Stop.
You are one sad excuse of a human being.
Stop it.
Stop it.
Stop, Nikki.
Stop.
I don't know.
I forgot
Are you
my
gonna
lines.
cry? Oh, is Bree gonna cry? Oh, Bree. Oh, the perfect Bellator's gonna cry. Hey, everyone, look at the real Bree mode. As far as I'm concerned, I have no sister. I wish you died in the womb.
We got, the crying.
I wish you died in the womb.
I blew it up. I forgot. I blew it up.
Oh, sister. I wish you died in the womb.
Oh my God. That was horrendous, man. It just drizzling shits, man. Garbage. Stop. Fuck you. I'm happy they had kids. Seriously. I'm not even saying, look, I'm just talking about characters. I'm not talking personal. Please. I'm not talking personal in any way, shape, or form, but that was just god awful. The acting was just, oh my God, it was just so bad. It was so bad. I mean, and it's not even a case where it was so bad that it was good. It was bad. All right. Next on top, you see Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero. And you know what? Well, we'll get to that a little bit later. But last week I talked about 1995 last week when Nitro was announced that it was going to debut on TNT and Bischoff, Hogan, Sting, Savage were in New York City. I told you last week that that was the anniversary that WCW signed Eddie, Dean, and Sabu to contracts. Well, this week, the following week was the infamous 2 out of 3 falls match. Eddie Guerrero versus Dean Malenko in the ECW arena, and that was their swan song. So it's a memorable match, one of our favorites, and I say us as the ECW family, as fans, and just absolutely loved it. It was still very young in their careers at the time. Dean Malenko maybe a little bit more polished, but it was just beautiful. And before you knew it, they were in WCW. So now we go to another one. And if you notice, we get to show Lillian Garcia twice on this list, which I think is great. So first, as you see there, it was this week in 2002. We had a tuxedo versus evening gown match. Howard Finkel versus Lillian Garcia. Now, what a lot of people may not realize is that Lillian Garcia, and as I'll bring up later on, this week was the anniversary of Lillian Garcia actually debuting with the WWE. And Lillian Garcia, she found out that she was going to be replacing Howard Finkel as commentator. So in a matter of a couple of years, Lillian Garcia was being groomed by Howard Finkel to replace him as the commentator. And they started doing storylines where Howard Finkel was sexist and, berating women. And it basically led to a match where the winner was the main announcer for WWE television. This was to slowly write off Howard Finkel. So it was this week in 2002, they had their tuxedo evening gown match. And yes, this is edited a little bit, but I still say to this day, although Howard was acting like a pig, one of the most genuinely nice people to ever grace pro wrestling. And Howard Finkel in real life, nothing of the sort like this storyline. And if you never saw this storyline of Howard Finkel versus Lillian Garcia, which was a little bit goofy, a little audio sample of what went down that night between the two of them. You know, heavily edited, but just to give you an idea of how Howard Finkel was acting in this storyline. It opens up with him talking to Stacy Keibler.
I just want you to know that I am not out here supporting you in your corner. I am out here because I want to make sure that Trish Stratus does not interfere.
Yeah, we saw Trish coming down with Lily.
Well, let me tell you something. Speaking of interference, right now, you're interfering with something in my trousers.
I
love it.
That is not history making right there, let me tell you. There's a lot of history made here tonight. That is not one of that piece of history. Hey, look at Trish!
Making their way to the ring for the first ever Tuxedo versus Ethan Down match, accompanied by Trish Stratus.
Hold on.
Lillian Garcia.
All right.
Okay, the winner of this match will be our permanent full-time ring announcer.
Unfortunately, I can't share the whole match. Just a couple of promos from Howard Finkel.
Howard are stripped down to their underwear. It is that simple. This is first ever, JR. I can't wait for this. Oh, what do you think? She's made a visit to Victoria's Secret today? Lillian's hot looking.
Hey, honey, you got a sec? Let's get this thing going. I just want to let you know that's a nice gown you've got on, but I thought that Rudy Giuliani barred hookers from this city a long time ago.
Whoa! Oh, look at Howard! Howard blocked the right hand. Whoa! Can't believe I said that. And Lillian just mounted Howard. What? I can't believe I said that. No, don't ever say that. Look at that. Look at Howard. He's roping. He's rolling. Oh, he's tearing. Howard might get aroused, King.
Somebody said that didn't age. Sure that did. Sure that did. You don't have to get so triggered over it. It was, he was playing like the dirty old man and stuff like that. In the end, Lillian Garcia got one up on him. And Howard Finkel is one of the most nicest people that ever, was in wrestling. So I just figured I'd share with everyone. All right, now we go to 2016. It was this week in 2016. Asuka was forced to relinquish the NXT Women's Championship because of the injury she suffered at TakeOver Brooklyn. And that ended her reign at 510 days. This week in 2015, Braun Strowman made his WWE debut. Now we go to the next line. You see Mr. Perfect and Kurt Hennig, and then you see Hogan, Warrior, General Adnan, Colonel Mustafa, and Sergeant Slaughter. Well, that was SummerSlam, and, a lot of people don't realize this. See to the right, Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth, the wedding. Then after that, you see Jake the Snake Roberts and Miss Elizabeth is on the floor. It was this week that we had SummerSlam. Wasn't it a match made in heaven, match made in hell? It was a match made in heaven, a match made in hell. And, obviously everybody remembers Bret Hart beating Mr. Perfect, to win the Intercontinental Championship. That's one of the greatest matches in SummerSlam history. The main event, which was Hogan and Warrior, Ultimate Warrior, defeating Colonel Mustafa, General Adnan, and Sergeant Slaughter. And a little tidbit that, this was the infamous time where Ultimate Warrior was holding up Vince McMahon for more money that he claimed Vince owed him. And after this event, Ultimate Warrior was pretty much done for several years. And why I bring up Miss Elizabeth and Randy Savage, well, they did the whole wedding thing. And if you remember Jake the Snake Roberts, Undertaker, they crashed the wedding, had snakes in the gift boxes. Sure, Miss Elizabeth's acting was pretty poor. But what a lot of people, I think, don't realize to this day is that if the Ultimate Warrior did not have that blowout with Vince McMahon, Ultimate Warrior was supposed to feud with Jake the Snake Roberts. Remember? Oh no, don't tell me I forgot to put it on here. Oh man, I had that audio with the Ultimate Warrior and Jake Roberts. I purposely put it aside to share today. I forgot to put it in this computer. Oh, man, we're going to have to wait one more week. That's all right. Yes, Liz was almost laughing. But last week when I talked about, with Ultimate Warrior and Jake turning on Warrior, this was supposed to lead to a feud with Jake the Snake Roberts and the Ultimate Warrior. Well, because the Ultimate Warrior ended up leaving WWF after this, they went with Jake the Snake Roberts feuding with Macho Man Randy Savage. So with the snake bite, remember when Randy was in the ring and all of this may have never happened if Ultimate Warrior would have stayed. So a lot of people, I don't think ever put the two together. So, I think that's a pretty big deal, for people. But once again, like I say, if you just read websites and you actually don't research and look at history, you'll never understand things that, just came together. I mean, Macho Man Jake Roberts is one of the most... My God, look. It's right there. There's the snake bite. There we go. There's the snake bite. That may have never happened if the Ultimate Warrior would have stood in the company. So it just goes to show you how things end up sometimes. Sometimes the most unexpected turn out to be the best. So next on the list, you see CM Punk with the WWE Championship, Seth Rollins with the NXT Championship. We got treated to a special match. NXT, CM Punk and Seth Rollins versus Cassius Ohno and Cesaro. So that happened, my God, what was it, 8 years ago? It's been a lot of years. You'd be surprised, man. Little treat of a match, having both champions in NXT wrestling together as a tag team. It was this week in 2014 that the El Rey Network officially announced the coming of a new promotion called Lucha Underground. It was this week in 1986 that WWF taped their first ever episode of Superstars. Any of us, that we were alive and wrestling fans back in the day, we grew up watching Superstars. Me a little bit older, watching All-Star Wrestling and Championship Wrestling, but Superstars was pretty cool. I think Coco Beware made his debut for the WWF at this taping as well. So earlier we were talking about Talking Smack. It's returning to WWE television on the network. Well, it was this week in 2016, the infamous blowout with Miz and Daniel Bryan talking about bingo halls and, Daniel Bryan with the indie promotions and Daniel Bryan walking out. It's already been 4 years, everybody. Just to give you an idea how fast time flies. 4 years. Unbelievable. So we already talked about Savage and Miss Elizabeth doing the wedding and the whole storyline that led to Jake Roberts and Randy Savage feuding. So we now go to ECW. Now, this was a big deal for us ECW fans at the time because, we never in a million years ever thought that they would go to pay-per-view in 97, and they did. Well, we thought they were going to go to pay-per-view in 96, and it was delayed because of the mass transit incident. But they went to pay-per-view in 97, and then it ends up they land a TV deal with TNN, who you would then know as Spike TV. Obviously, we know how that turned out for ECW. Pretty much set up their demise. WWF would end up leaving USA Network to go to Spike TV. Well, it was this week in 1999 that not only was the announcement of ECW coming to TNN, but Paul Heyman was featured all over the press talking about it. And I have a little video. It's about 6 or 7 minutes long. I think you'll all enjoy it. I edited it down. It was 40 minutes long. I edited it to about 6 minutes. And it's an appearance that Paul Heyman made on MSNBC back in 1999. A lot of you that used to be fans of old school boxing may remember Bert Sugar. He makes a little appearance here as well. But it's pretty cool to watch Paul Heyman and listen to some of his answers about pro wrestling at that time. And just to show you how things have changed as well. So here you go. Just sit back, relax a little bit. This is Paul Heyman, MSNBC, this week, 1999.
Further evidence that people can't get enough of wrestling, the Nashville network, TNN, is starting its own wrestling program next week, and joining us to talk about it, the owner of Extreme Championship Wrestling, Paul Heyman, who's producing this ring-shaking event for TNN.
Ring-shaking. Well, that's...
Ring-shaking.
Thank you. Hey,
ring-shaking.
I'm flattered by it.
Well, good. Also joining us, Minnesota radio host and Jesse Ventura fan, Dan.
I paused it on purpose. You know what I'm going to do? Just to show you how quick I could be with this stuff. While this is playing for 2-3 minutes, I'm going to go get that Jake Roberts Ultimate Warrior audio that I promised you this week. So don't go anywhere. I will be right back.
The Common Man Cole. Bob Peters is with Morality and Media and legendary sports writer Bert Sugar, co-author of The Complete Idiot's Guide to Wrestling. Let me go back to Paul. Extreme Championship Wrestling debuts next Friday on TNN. What is Extreme? What's going to happen?
What's going to happen is TNN has picked up a television program that we've been producing for 6 years that is designed to entertain the audience. It's good programming for a network to air. It obviously elicits a response from the audience that could, hey, you're putting our footage up on the air. There you go. I mean, it's entertainment at its best. It's programming for TNN now to pick up and bring to a wider audience for us. And we feel that we're going to develop a great audience on the network with the product that we put forth.
All right, let's just take a look at the ratings. Last week, the week before last, 4 of the 5 top shows on basic cable were pro wrestling events. Almost 7 million viewers, more than Jerry Springer or Hollywood Squares had the week before. WWF Raw had 6.9 million homes. WWF Warzone, 6.6. WWF Sunday Night Heat, 5.6. Movie, The Vegas Vacation, came in with a 5.5, and Monday Nitro, 4.1. I can tell you in the cable world, those are huge, huge numbers. So, Paul, that's what's drawing you into this, right? The chance to do some big business.
Well, I've been in the wrestling business, and I've been actually the head of ECW for almost 6 years now. So it wasn't the lure of the big ratings, because back in 1993 when I took over ECW, wrestling wasn't doing this kind of numbers on cable. So, I mean, why are we doing it now? I think the networks have picked us up because wrestling is so popular and because they feel that they may be getting a highly rated program onto their network.
Bert Sugar, the WB Network is also adding a wrestling show this season. What is it about wrestling that makes it so popular? Men in tights? Is it soap opera for men? What is it?
No, it's a kids-oriented sport. By kids, I mean young men 18 to 35. At my age, that's a young man. And it's a male soap opera. Really, you alluded to it at the beginning. It's adult cartoon characters. It's Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner and the Acme Dynamite Company all wrapped in one. To this generation, if you will, it's the Rocky Horror Picture Show. They participate, they're in it, they're part of it. The one thing you have to understand, though, is while it's choreographed, these men are athletes. They can take bumps and lumps that other athletes can't. So it's got a little athleticism, a lot of flair, a lot of dash, and it's appealing.
Dan, the Common Man Cole, your name suggests that you understand what the appeal is. The Common Man is the wrestling fan. What is it?
Well, what it is, Bert described it very well. It is very similar to that of a comic book, like Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, Fantastic Four. It's very simple for people to follow. You know who the villain is, you know who the good guy is, you know who to root for. It's real easy to digest. You don't have to think too hard, and it's rather fun. You get to root for the good guy, root for the bad guy, whatever side you want to be on. It's harmless, and people get a kick out of it. It's a way to kick back from, you know, your normal everyday life. Maybe things ain't going real good on the job. The kids may be giving you a little bit of trouble in school, whatever the case may be. You got to mow the lawn instead of go golfing on Saturday, and so it's a way to escape the real problems of the real world, and it's harmless entertainment, and people seem to be just eating it up.
Bob Peters, hang on just a second. I got one more question for Paul Heyman before I come to you. Paul.
Yes, sir.
We're also talking some real money here. No one from the WWF would come on tonight because they have a stock offering coming up, and they're in their quiet
Did the guy do yet the Rock stuff?
Rules.
Right.
What kind of dough is involved in this world of wrestling now?
My father used to tell me when I was a kid that any business is like the fertilizer business.
Okay, it's coming up.
If one guy goes to the bathroom on your lawn, it's an insult, and if 100 people go to the bathroom them on your lawn, you're in the fertilizer business.
I hope I put the right version. I think I might have put the longer
So, I mean,
version.
what kind of dough? There's millions and millions of dollars to gain, and there's millions and millions of dollars to lose. It's like any other
Might have to
business in
fast forward a
America.
little
If
bit.
they buy your stuff, you get rich, and if they don't, you go broke. I think anything in today's pop culture, be it on television, on radio,
No, this is the
on
right one.
news programs such as this, is going to influence anybody who doesn't watch responsibly. And if you, I mean, like our TV show on TNN, which starts next Friday night, has a TV 14 rating. So I mean, I would expect that anybody under 14 should have a parent telling them what to watch.
Is it true? Is it true, Paul, that on your extreme wrestling, that there's a guy using a baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire, and don't you think some kid might decide that's something he could do?
I mean, are we going to live our lives worrying and spending our time sitting there and saying, if a parent's not responsible enough to teach the children what's on TV, what's real and what's not real? I mean, I find the news to be a hell of a lot more violent than the simulated violence that you find on professional wrestling.
When have you seen on the news a real-life, vivid, graphic baseball bat bashed over somebody's head? You might hear a report on it, but you're not going to see the actual action.
I can answer that. I grew up watching Walter Cronkite broadcast the Vietnam War. So, I mean, who are you kidding?
Bert Sugar, referee this for me.
Hello, girls. I'm as much as Bob for morality, but there is no morality in media or anywhere today. Look at sports and the messages it sends out. Latrell Sprewell chokes his coach and they welcome him back. If Jack the Ripper had a jump shot, somebody would have signed him. Morality.
Latrell sprayed great. He played great.
But that's beside the point. They're bringing back Lawrence Peters, who drags girls down the stairs. We are sending out all kinds of messages and all kinds of sports.
Right.
Wrestling probably least of all. You go to a Bruce Willis movie and there are 14 body parts flying by you before the credits come on.
Dan, the common man, what about pure offensive?ness? That professor in the report we saw a while ago listed this after 100 hours at WWF. 16
shows like Baywatch and stuff makes wrestling look absolutely harmless. And if you're looking for televised, real-life televised violence, look no further than the Reginald Denny beatings and the Rodney King beatings. It really happens. Anybody that watches this has to realize even children can look at this and say, this is just basically a real life. It's human beings. They're cartoon characters. It's so bizarre and so surreal that it's. I can't see where anybody would look at it and say, hey, I'm going to beat somebody up with a baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire. I just don't see it.
Have you ever read news reports, whether it's MTV, Beavis and Butthead, South Park, where teachers talk about how the kids, or Jerry Springer, the kids bring in and they start talking the way they see people talking Jerry Springer and they start acting out. Kids are kids. I mean, it may not be a hateful violence. It's pure copycat.
Bayonne, New Jersey. What do you think? Hang on, Bert. Bayonne, what do you think?
Yeah, I got a question for Mr. Heyman and Mr. Peters. Is that your name, sir?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
See you, Bayonne.
And he's here.
We're watching wrestling. The issue is, why is this so popular? Paul Heyman, you've been in the business
only about
for a
90
while,
seconds left.
And you certainly can make a judgment about the audience. How has it changed? And I mean, I know you're trying to ride this thing. It is your business, but how has it changed? And what have you noticed about the way the audience has changed?
I don't know if the audience has changed.
No, Paul, it has. Paul, it has to this degree. Years ago, there used to be a great confrontation, real or not real. I think everybody now knows it's choreographed and they buy into it, and they now have become part of it. So I think you've even seen that since the early 90s.
Well, I think because it's a more intelligent audience now. They're in on what it is. They understand what it is that they're watching. And I think the reason for that is because I don't think the wrestling industry per se, and not that I'm a spokesman for the entire industry, nor would I want to be, but I don't think the industry is trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes anymore. And I think it's very clear what it is. It's a show, it's a presentation, it's entertainment, just like everything. I mean, do you really think the city's behind me? It's not New York City, it's a wall with
now you're telling me.
Oh, no, Paul, don't reveal our secrets, please. How do you feel about those people who still say, oh, it's fake?
So what? What's the big deal about it? It's a show. Hello?
Hey, Paul, what happens if a wrestler doesn't go along with the script and refuses to lose?
What happens if your news producer tells you to cover a subject and you say, no, I'd rather cover another subject?
In other words, you fire him.
Yeah. Wouldn't you get fired if you refuse to do what your producer
I'll get fired if I don't go this break. Hey, Bert, Paul Heyman, we love
All right, that's it. That's good enough. So, yeah, that was this week in 1999. Pretty cool, pretty cool. And speaking of pretty cool, since that segment went on for a little bit, I was able to not only pull the audio from my other computer, I was able to transfer it over to this computer and cue it up. So here you go. Like I said, it's corny, it's goofy. It's just since I was a kid with the whole warrior snake thing, it always felt there was a little bit of a sexual overtone to it. And several years ago, just out of boredom, I decided to take that segment with the snakes, change the words, cut, paste, splice it a little bit, add a little background music to it, and came up with this.
Now we've gotten to the place that holds it all, brother. You've trusted me to this point.
The Ultimate Warrior has no fear. Let me in.
Stand back, my man. Learn to live. Learn to slide in, my man.
Slide in.
Now, come on, let's get to the center of the room, brother.
Nothing of this, Snake Man.
Oh, come on, it's part of what you've been through. Trust me. Trust me, go to the center of the room.
Snake Man.
That's where it all is at. Come on. You gotta get closer to see the answer. It's inside. I promise. I swear to you, warrior. And all I believe. It's there.
What is it, Snake Man?
Oh, maybe I'll shed a little light on the subject for you there, big guy. What do you think about that, warrior? Just a little skin prick, nothing that'll hurt you. Oh, it's not what the doctor ordered, is it? No. Is the heart beat a little faster? Is your blood pumping, warrior? Relax, I've told you. Come on. No, it's not over yet. Come on, warrior.
Yeah, I just realized it. This music gonna be alright? I might have to just demonetize this episode.
Yeah, that's nice. Come on, don't shoot me, Bob.
Come on, tell me that doesn't sound like, adult entertainment.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I was bored one day. I decided to just add some zipper sounds and music. I'm telling you, listen to it back. It sounds like somebody. I don't know. I was bored. And I didn't have to alter all that much to it. So anyway, let's start wrapping this up because we're running a little bit late over here. So let's get back. So that was, and believe it or not, we still stay in 1999 because ECW is debuting on TNN. I said earlier we had the evening gown match with Howard, 2002. Took about 3 years for Lillian Garcia to basically start in the WWF and then become their regular announcer. So this week in 2002, they had that match, but it was also this week in 1999 that Lillian Garcia debuted in WWF. So this week is her debut as well. Now, a lot of things went down this week in 99 on Raw, and their rating was a 6.4. We had Triple H beat Mankind to win the heavyweight title. Might have been his first title reign ever. And on the WCW side, if you look to the next, if you look right next to Lillian Garcia, we had this infamous moment. Now, I can't obviously share the song or anything else, but I could share about 9 seconds of Tony Schiavone. Very excited about the debut of this.
And now we go to this. On a personal note, I'm getting ready to say the words that I've always wanted to say since I first heard this group back in 1976. So it's my honor to say this. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's go for it, fans. All right, Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
You one of the best.
You got the best.
The hottest band in the world. Kiss.
They actually popped pretty good. They actually did pop pretty good when Kiss came out. Unfortunately, it only scored I think a 2.2 rating. 2.2 rating. But, I always try to make light of that. So Tony Schiavone, overexcited. And that happened this week in 1999. I wonder if anybody's ever going to remember that. You wanted the best. You got the best. Kids. And then that led to the debut of the demon character, Dale Torborg, which was a fiasco. Remember, WCW, they paid Kiss like $500,000 to perform 2 songs that night. They only did one, and then the demon debuted. Oh, man. What a fiasco. But I don't think we can deny that Kiss put on a pretty good performance that night. So that happened also this week in 1999. And, I might as well bring this up, too, even though it's not on the pictures. But that same night that they had Kiss show up on Nitro and have that musical performance, Raven had quit WCW. And I know I'm going a week ahead, but next week is the anniversary that Raven made his return to ECW and won the tag titles with Tommy Dreamer when the Dudleys were leaving. So Raven quit WCW this week in 1999. So there you go. Next, we have 2015, the infamous segment, the moment where Sting was revealed in the center of the ring. They were going to reveal, the statue for Seth Rollins or something, and it ended up being Sting. That happened this week in 2015. This week is the 7-year anniversary that AJ Lee cut that pipe bomb on Total Divas. And a lot of people to this day feel that very realistic. And it was funny because back then they were this was directed towards the whole Total Divas cast. And at that time, Natty and Tyson Kidd were featured quite a bit on there. WWE had done a poll at that time, who, I guess, I don't know exactly how they worded it, but I guess who was burned the most with what AJ Lee said, like who got, owned. Maybe it wasn't a WWE poll, but I'm pretty sure it was. And the Bellas ran away with it. They got like 40 or 50% of the vote that, AJ Lee pretty much owned them more than anything else. But that's an infamous moment in wrestling history that I know a lot of you, absolutely love, especially that CM Punk and AJ Lee are now married to each other. But yeah, that happened this week in 14? I think it was 2014. So, final line, this week, 1995, the infamous death match that took place in Japan. Kawasaki Dream. We had Cactus Jack beat Terry Funk in a no ropes, exploding barbed wire, exploding ring death match. It was for IWA. Crazy match. If you've never seen it, and you don't mind a little bit of hardcore wrestling, go out of your way and see it. Cactus Jack, Mick Foley versus Terry Funk. When you hear about the stories of their crazy death matches in Japan, this is the one that people always reference. In fact, Mick Foley talked about it in his book in detail, and I think on one of my history episodes, I played what Foley said in his book, and I had the match going in the background at the same time. And it was pretty cool to sync them up together. So, next we have 1990, SummerSlam. Obviously, for people that are following SummerSlam 2020 and a little bit of Bret Hart is doing a special signing, I believe, with Demolition to celebrate the anniversary of them beating Demolition 2 out of 3 falls for the WWF tag titles on SummerSlam. So it's a pretty cool moment that I know a lot of you remember. Little tidbit that a lot of you may not know, that for SummerSlam 1990, Shane Douglas actually wrestled a dark match. And I believe he beat Playboy Buddy Rose, believe it or not. So there you go. Next, we have 1994, Clash of the Champions. Ricky Steamboat beating Stunning Steve Austin to win the United States title. The reason why I bring this up is because Ricky Steamboat suffered a career-ending back injury during that match. Now, yes, Steamboat would return in 2009, for a cup of coffee, but it was this week in 1994 that he originally had to retire following this match with Steve Austin. And last but not least on this list, and I tell you, it blows me away, even though the match was a little bit of a clusterfuck. The Rock was a special guest referee, but it was fun. Maybe they don't want to bring it up all that much because The Rock hit the rock bottom on Stephanie. But, you know, you talk about women's evolution as far as them getting the limelight or getting, you know, playing field. This week is the 20-year anniversary that not only did Lita beat Stephanie to win the WWF Women's Championship, but it was this week in 2000, 20 years ago, the first time ever on Monday Night Raw that the women main evented Raw. So when you talk about women main eventing Raw, you know, they made a big deal about, you know, women closing out Raw episodes a few years ago. Well, 20 years ago this week, Lita and Stephanie closed out Monday Night Raw. They actually had a match and Lita won the championship 20 years ago. Unbelievable. I hope they acknowledge it. I really do. So that is your This Week in Wrestling History. So went a little bit longer. You know, I got to really try to figure out how to cut these a little bit shorter. But we had some great convo today. I think because of Thunderdome more than anything, it deserved to have a little bit extra discussion. I could tell by everybody's social media, everybody was very excited or very curious to see what was going to go down. And again, you know, good start for WWE. I want to find out that the reason why they had the same images so many times for people is because of technical difficulties. I need to see that. I need to read that. I need to be told that, because if they're going to try to continue to play smoke and mirrors and have only 50 or 60 people on the screen and then duplicate their images 10, 15-fold, then I guarantee you in about 2 weeks, people are going to be like, you know, this is the same old shit. Just trying to, you know, give it a different look to it. I think this is the part of the mastermind of Vince McMahon, because Vince is adamant that live fans and fans being there, that energy is needed to get people to watch again. But, you know, I'll leave you with this. I like the way the concept, good start. The overall arena looks fabulous. But they added that and now took away fan reactions, fan cheers, fan jeers, fan chants. Even though it was NXT stars, but still, you know, to have Jeff Hardy have that blockbuster win and to not only feel no energy, but see no energy, because nobody watched, none of those fans in Thunderdome, blah, 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 were live at the same time synced up. You know, that takes away. Like I said, if you're a blind person or somebody visually impaired and you checked out SmackDown tonight, you might think it's a step back from previous weeks because there was no crowd reaction. You just had this gentle noise in the background. 1 or 2 times with other wrestlers, they added some additional noise from a soundboard. But overall, they need to fix that and fix it quickly. It's not about a test run, Benjamin. They hyped this up big time. SmackDown was not hyped up as a test run. This was hyped up as a launch and a debut. So again, I need to hear technical difficulties, and I'll be satisfied with that. But they definitely need to build on this. Let's see what happens SummerSlam. Everyone, enjoy SummerSlam. Enjoy TakeOver. My TakeOver predictions were part of Wednesday Night Don-O-Mite, in case you want to check out that episode. Before you leave, you know, if you could give the show a little thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe. And don't forget, right here, right after the pay-per-view Sunday, I'll either be here solo or I'll be here with Mish giving you your SummerSlam pay-per-view recap. So everyone enjoy, take care, be well, enjoy the weekend, and enjoy AEW Dynamite Saturday night. So I'm curious to see how many people watch NXT and how many watch Dynamite. So much love, everyone. Ciao.